Stay on track, and who'll go off the rail? Get the Irish Sun for top transfer news, exclusive star interviews and opinions from the biggest names in football, plus expert analysis of every action-packed match in our fantastic goals pull-out each weekend. Stay up to speed, because you never know what the Premier League is going to throw up. Pick up the Irish Sun today.
This is not the time for business as usual. It's time for effort and imagination. It's time to use technology to start your online plans. It's time to work from home, to stay in touch. It's time to look to each other. Scoil Céile. Ireland is working online with help from Black Knight and .ie, because now we need better than business as usual. Call Black Knight on 059 918 3027 or visit blackknight.ie.
123ink.ie for all your home office needs, including printers, ink, toners, paper, label markers, binders,
pens, bins, batteries, boxes, chalk, compass, files, memory sticks, highlighters, glue, notepads, pencils,
Whoa! And we're cheaper than your current supplier. 123ink.ie for home, for office, for less.
Introducing Guardson Sport. Protect your sporting equipment from COVID-19 for up to 14 days with Guardson Sport disinfectant treatment. Ideal in team sport settings with the sharing of balls, rackets, gloves, helmets and all other sporting equipment. Guardson Sport kills COVID-19 on impact, keeping surfaces free from COVID-19 and other viruses and bacteria for up to 14 days by creating a protective polymer layer on application. For more information on Guardson Sport and other quality assured, certified and approved PPE, visit yourcovidprotection.com.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Fulham against Crystal Palace from Craven Cottage. I'm your host, Russell Hargreaves, and alongside me is the former Aston Villa and England striker Gabby Agbonlahor, and this is Premier League Live. So Fulham heading into this game, rock bottom of the Premier League, just the 1 point so far this season. That was picked up against Sheffield United last time out. Crystal Palace, a couple of early wins under Roy Hodgson, then a couple of defeats and at least a draw to stem that bleed against Brighton. We'll go with Fulham's lineup. A reminder one more time for you. One change to the side that drew against the Blades. It's Mario Lemina on loan from Southampton, who slots into midfield. There's no Ivan Cavaliero in the matchday 18. So it's Alphonse Areola in goal, Anthony Robinson, Tosin Adara-Bioyo, Tim Ream and Ola Aina at the back. In some capacity, Tom Kearney, Andre Frank-Samba and Guisa Mario Lemina supporting Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Adamola Lookman, with Alexandra Mitrovic up top. We'll let you know exactly how they're shaping up as the first few minutes progress. On the bench for Scott Parker's home side, and Marek Rodak, he's the sub-keeper, Dennis Adoy, Bobby Cordova-Reid, Maxime Lemarchand, Harrison Reed, Joe Bryan and Abubakar Kamara. That's the Crystal Palace under Roy Hodgson, who, as we speak, gives Scott Parker a warm embrace on the touchline. Back, of course, to the ground where he did so brilliantly as a boss a few years ago. Palace with 3 changes to the team that drew against Brighton. In come Nathaniel Klein for his second debut, Scott Down, and return for club captain Luka Milivojevic. Out to Joel Ward, the injured Gary Cahill and James MacArthur. It's Vicente Gaeta in goal, Klein, Dan, Cheka Kayate and Tyrick Mitchell at the back. Andros Townsend, Jairo Riedeveld, Milivojevic and Jeffrey Schlupp in midfield. Effectively a 4-4-2 with Mishi Batshuayi and Wilfred Zaha up top. Stephen Henderson is the backup keeper, along with Patrick Van Aanholt, Max Meyer, Mamadou Sakho, Christian Benteke, Eberici Eze and Martin Kelly also on the bench. Graham Scott is your referee. We're about to get underway. Gabby Agbonlahor, as we have our ongoing and quite right homage to Black Lives Matter as all the players take their respectful knee. What's your thoughts on how this will go, and what's your key battleground that might decide it?
I really feel that this is a game that Fulham get off the mark. I think Loftus-Cheek, Mitrovic will be on form. Mitrovic has a lot that he owes the team after his performance in the last game that Fulham played. So I'm going for a Fulham win, 2-1, and I feel their defence will have enough to cope with Crystal Palace's attack.
The story that would be Fulham kicking from left to right in the first half from our vantage point here on Premier League Live. It's in their traditional kit, so pretty much all white tops with a little bit of black trim around the shoulders, black shorts and white socks again with a tiny bit of black trim around the knees, and Crystal Palace in their traditional kit as well. The away side kicking from right to left here on the banks of the River Thames. It's their traditional blue and red vertical striped tops, blue shorts and blue socks. Fulham trying to work the ball forward for the first attack of the game. It's a neat ball over the top looking for Aina, who's up against young Mitchell. Mitchell does well to hold up against the Nigerian. Ruben Loftus-Cheek sees the loose ball and plays it off a Crystal Palace defender and out for the first corner of the game for Fulham. Good hunger there, just as you wanted to see from Scott Parker's men.
I really like the way they've gone a bit direct there and played in the right back, because Fulham have been guilty of a lot of passing in areas that's not going to hurt teams. They need to try and force the play a bit more and play some long balls rather than playing one or two passes around the centre midfield.
It's a promising sign, and Fulham have that first corner of the game. It's going to be taken by their captain, Tom Kearney, the Scot. It's a short delivery infield. As far as Lookman, who tries his luck with a cross shot from the edge of the penalty area. The ball rebounds back as far as Ademola Lookman, who couldn't quite control it second time around. Crystal Palace clear their lines downfield, looking for the pace and guile of Wilfred Zaha. And Tim Ream, the veteran American at the back, reads the danger and clears things up for Fulham. Ream back into the team in recent weeks. He's got a big job, hasn't he, today?
Yeah, and I did criticise him early on in the season because I feel like he just lacked the pace for the Premier League. So to have someone quick next to him is going to help him a lot in his game, because he's good on the ball and that's how Fulham want to play. So hopefully he can have a better game today and try and keep a clean sheet.
And the man born in St. Louis, Missouri, does of course know this team well, knows the Premier League well from last time up. And again, that balance is important, isn't it, to have people who do know the club and the league.
Yeah, 100%. You need a bit of both, don't you? And I feel like Fulham have got that now.
Aina on this near side, working the ball downfield. It's another promising build-up from the Cottagers. Andre Frank, Sambo and Guisa picking it up. His return ball as far as Aina sees the youngster upended. He goes to turf and Fulham win themselves another free kick. Aina, Nigerian on loan from Torino in Italy. Another of the newish faces, and knew just what to do there to win the free kick.
Yeah, it was good play there from him, but I still laugh whenever I see a game at Craven Cottage, because it brings back memories of playing and how tight the pitch is. I mean, if you look at Crystal Palace now, every player in their own half, I mean, it's near enough impossible for Fulham to get through at the moment.
It is being rebuilt at the moment, the Cottage as well. The beautiful Sir Archibald Leach designed Johnny Haynes stand, I'm still pleased to say, is there, but opposite it, where we are based today, that stand is being massively rebuilt. It's going to add several thousand to the just under 20,000 capacity the Cottage had before. And it's going to be a big addition, and hopefully it won't then lose the atmosphere. I don't think it will. I think just this one stand doing what they're doing kind of makes sense to me, Gabby.
Yeah, you have to keep building, don't you, as a team, as a training ground, as a stadium if possible, because Fulham Stadium, it brings back memories for the club, but they'd like to extend. We look at neighbours of them, Brentford, moved into a new ground, and I'm sure Fulham would love to do that one day.
Well, QPR looking at doing the same, of course, as well, aren't they? So, yeah, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it, to keep re-evolving, and it's a glorious setting by the River Thames in West London. I'm biased because it's not too far from where I live, but I love it. all the pubs, all the history, all the beauty of the Thames. It is a great part of the world, and Fulham are trying to do their best to showcase that with a win here today, their first maybe of the season in the Premier League. Anthony Robinson begins the attack from the right-hand side. Aina it was who brought it in field. And Fulham really continue to impress and work the ball laterally now through Zambo and Guisa. Crystal Palace pressing, forcing the Cottagers back to halfway. And here they come again through Mario Lemina, the man returning to the starting 11, the Gabonese midfielder. Finds Zambo and Guisa once more, and again to Ola Aina, who's been a very busy outlet so far. He's happy to see the ball trickle off Mitchell and out for another Fulham throw. Not seen much end product, but plenty of possession and territory so far for the home team.
Yeah, like I said, it's not going to be easy. This is not like the Emirates or a big pitch. It's very tight, Fulham's home ground, so it's going to take a lot of good play to get through.
Alexander Mitrovic holds the ball up well. It's chested down by Kearney just outside the edge of the D. Back as far as Mitrovic, fitting delivery. It was a neat cross from the Serbian international. It fizzed across Gaeta's 6-yard box. No Fulham players with Mitrovic dragged away could make contact, but Fulham continue their move off balance. Anthony Robinson puts in the cross. It's headed behind, but the ball just floated out of play in the air from the American, and it's out for a Crystal Palace goal kick. And cracky Gabby, a chance for them to get their foot on the ball. They've not done much of that all game so far.
But I feel like these are Crystal Palace's tactics. Don't forget, this is what they do week in, week out. They don't have much of the ball. They don't really have many shots in recent games, but they find themselves getting results, and that's what they'll try to do today. Hit Fulham on the counter attack and try and nick a goal if they can.
We mentioned that in that draw last time out against Brighton, because there was a disallowed goal, a lovely finish from Bashuai that didn't count toward this stat, but they had one shot of any form during the game, not just on goal, one shot of any form, and that was Zaha's penalty.
Yeah.
And it's actually the first time since Opta started doing stats in 2003-04 that a team has only had one shot of any form in an entire game, and it be from the penalty spot. I mean, that is.
And I feel as well, when you say that as well, like, you can get away with it now and then, but you can't be doing that every week, because sooner or later you're going to concede goals and you're going to lose games. If you don't score enough goals in this league, you're going to find yourself getting relegated, because you're not going to be able to win 1-0 every week.
And you're not going to keep getting given penalties either,
No,
are you?
definitely
Not every game. Oh dear, it's given away. Shaky moment there from Scott Dan on his return to the team. Here's Zambo Anguissa, who runs and runs as Palace's defence stands off him. Mitrovic in space. Mitrovic shoots. His effort is blocked. It was Trick Mitchell who came charging back. It was, and put in a fine block. Mitrovic trying to atone for what was such a tough game last weekend. Pulled the trigger. It was blocked by the Palace defence, but Fulham come again. Through Aina from the right hand side, left footed, finds Anthony Robinson, who just slipped again, the American on the far flank, kept the ball in play, but it was easily dealt with this time by the Crystal Palace defence. They worked the ball downfield. No foul on the far side on Wilfried Zaha. He finds himself on his backside and appeals plaintively to the officials, but gets absolutely nothing. Fulham in the end win the ball back with relative ease. Just for a moment there, it looked as though they might be able to unlock the door through Mitrovic's delivery. Not to be. And Fulham come forward again through Aina. Ball in field. Neat little turn once more from Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who is playing in a more advanced role as we suspected. With Lamina coming into the team, Loftus-Cheek almost pushing up into a kind of 10 position off Mitrovic at various times. Big powerful figure, wearing 15, on loan from Chelsea, the England international. As Gabby Bonlahor said, with a little bit of a point to prove maybe. Ball forward though from Palace, this is much more like it. Wilfried Zaha picks it up, twists and turns. First shot on target of the game. Palace have got one in this match already. It's fisted away by Alphonse Areola in the Fulham goal. Lovely through ball, another chance for Palace, and it's an opening goal. After Fulham dominate the opening proceedings, Palace hit them on the counter. And it's a first of the season from Jairo Riedewald, the Dutchman. Back into the team in midfield, outstanding last week. And he gets the opening goal. It's Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1.
It's a great goal, isn't it? But if you're Scott Parker, you must be shaking your head thinking it's Groundhog Day. I mean, it's one easy ball there for Zaha to get through. And I feel like Fulham maybe forget that Zaha's in the area. You can't let him shoot. You can't force him onto his left because he's got a good left foot. And then the ball comes back out, and look how easy it is for the third man running to get in behind. I mean, Kearney doesn't follow him, he passes him on, and it's a great finish by the midfielder, but so frustrating for Fulham. I mean, it's like the story of their season so far. They're on top so much in the game and they concede silly goals.
I was actually reading an article pre-match about Jairo Riedewald. I remember when he came in 2017 from Ajax, and he was seen as something of a coup to have landed and to have been brought to a team like Palace with the greatest of respect. He's mostly played when he has in defence. He's been dropped a fair bit, injured a fair bit, just never has really done it. But just in the last few weeks, particularly since they've given him a crack in midfield, he's started to shine. One of the best players last week. It's a really nice story to actually see him score.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's shown some quality, and for Roy Hodgson to be playing him, you must have faith in him.
Yeah, so Riedewald is the man who scores the opening goal of the game, wearing 44. Gleeful celebrations, I should have mentioned, by the way, in the corner. Just absolutely chuffed to bits to have got that goal. Dutchman Jairo Riedewald with the first goal of the game. Fulham immediately, though, trying to get something back at the other end. Rocked by yet another sucker punch, as Gabby Bonlahor mentioned here on Premier League Live. Fulham 0, Palace 1, as the Cottagers try to bring the ball forward through Tosin Adara Boyayo, their centre half, who they signed from Man City. He gives it away, though, and it's Palace on the counter-attack once more. Mishi Batshuayi just ghosted his way toward the edge of the 6-yard box, pushed to an acute angle, blocked in the end, but more worries for Fulham.
Look how, I mean, it's so disappointing for Scott Parker. I mean, Batshuayi wins the ball there, and he's able to run half of the pitch without the centre half coming towards him. And I mean, on another day here, he gets a shot off on goal. It's very disappointing defending from Fulham. As
you backtrack and invite the opposition on, you're in all sorts of trouble, aren't you? Particularly with the likes of Zaha, to reap potential havoc. And reap havoc is exactly, funny enough, what Roy Hodgson invited him to do for the rest of the season after another goal from the penalty spot, admittedly, in that game last time out. Come on, be the player we know you can be on a consistent basis. Knuckle down, I think, effectively. Appreciate you're at this club, certainly till January, and just deliver for everybody's sake. Would that be a fair way to look at Wilfried Zaha?
Yeah, definitely. You know what the quality that he's got. He's such an exciting player with so much. You even call it probably potential still, because he hasn't reached what he can
he's 27,
achieve.
isn't he?
Yeah, he's 27. He's got so much to offer, and I feel like the tactics that Roy Hodgson's applying, especially today, will work in his favour, because he likes to play on the counter-attack and run with the ball and go and do his own thing. So definitely you need to see more from Zaha, and I'm sure he can do it because he's got the potential.
So 11 minutes 15 seconds gone. Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1. Zaha the provider. Lovely through ball for the goal from Jairo Riedeveld. Fulham back in possession through Tom Kearney, who I think among various players could have done better for the goal that was shipped. His long ball over the top. Looks for Anthony Robinson, the former Everton and Wigan defender. Robinson, though, wearing 33. Not through any fault of his own. Couldn't keep that overhit cross ball in play. And it trickles out for yet another Crystal Palace throw. Robinson, USA international already, 7 caps. Milton Keynes born, but with a dad from White Plains, New York. That's how he qualifies for Team USA. He ended up at AC Milan, funnily enough, from Wigan, so highly rated was he. So ended up at Fulham instead, after that move fell through. It's the other fullback, though, Aina on the near side, who delivers another telling delivery. It's out for another throw, and Aina just hobbling a bit, Gabby, taking maybe a little bit of a knock to the ankle.
Yeah, it looks like a little knock, but I'm sure he'll be okay. But I'm just looking at the tactics that Crystal Palace are doing, and they do it every week, and I feel like today it's worked a treat already, you know, getting that first goal. And this is exactly what Zaha wants. He wants Fulham to push on and leave that space in behind for him to counter-attacking.
So far so good, certainly for Palace, and it's Fulham huffing and puffing and a goal down already. Remember a couple of matches ago they shipped 4 in another London derby against Chelsea. One or two iffy games, haven't they, so far? Here they come through Kearney to Zambo Anguissa, back to Kearney once more. The Scot, club captain, trying to lead by example, wearing 10, does well with several Palace players all nibbling at his ankles, keeps his footing, finds Ream, back to Robinson, little 1-2, lovely through ball, opportunity for the equaliser. It's Mitrovic with the shot again, which is blocked by the Palace defence, and the danger here is that Palace can maybe counter-attack. Ream does really well, though, to snuff out that dangerous opportunity, gets there just ahead of Batshuayi, and the American veteran shows good strength to stay on his feet, beat the Belgian, and now perhaps begin another Fulham counter-attack down this near side. And once more, it's Aina who's upended, I think by Zaha this time. It'll be another Fulham free kick. Zaha, as ever, isn't happy with the decision. What decision doesn't he contest that doesn't go his way? Anyway, Fulham trying to make something happen down the far stand side. In swinging delivery, Robinson offloaded, decent play from Mitrovic to eventually free Ademola Lookman. And Lookman's shot from an acute angle, Gabby, nearly snuck in.
Yeah, and I think he's offered that since he's joined Fulham. He's always wants to get in the box, always wants to make things happen, and he's going to be the man, Lookman, that's going to get Fulham back into this game, because he showed real quality in his last 2 games.
Wasn't 100% sure initially if it hit Gaeta or the post, and the answer was it was both. Vicente Gaeta just fingertipping it onto the edge of the post and out for a corner. It never truly perhaps looked like going in, but fingertip onto woodwork, and behind from that narrow angle for the Fulham corner. 14 gone. Fulham a goal down to Palace on Premier League Live. Kenny takes it. It's headed half clear by Batshuayi, who's out at the back helping out his defenders. The striker did a decent job, but again Palace could only get it half clear. Loose ball picked up by Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Again, Fulham about 30-35 yards out, going laterally through Ream as far as fellow centre-half Adara Bioyo. The man, as we mentioned, at 23, never quite made it at Man City, but has made Fulham his home in recent weeks. One of 3 signings on transfer deadline day. Loftus-Cheek was another. Joachim Andersen, the Dane, was another, and then unfortunately picked up an injury before he'd even played for the club. His absence at the back already a frustration, seen as an important signing. Didn't happen. Hence, Congolo has come in from Huddersfield, but as we say, doesn't feature today. Another in-ball from Robinson that was promising, controlled by Lookman, and behind for a corner kick off Cheku Kayate. Again, nice interplay between those two down the left, Gabby.
It looks like that's going to be the side where they're going to get their joy from, but I'm just really excited to see Lookman. I mean, he had the spell at Everton that didn't really work out, but he looks like he wants to come to the Premier League now and make it work and leave his mark, and I feel like he's going to have to get Fulham something out of this game. Yep,
online from RB Leipzig in the Bundesliga. Kenny with yet another corner, outswinging delivery, not the best on this occasion, and again it is Batshuayi who's back, helping out his team with a powerful header clear. It's picked up though quite nicely by Mario Lemina. Fulham set yet another platform, 25 yards out, central position, 1-2 between Lamina and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Yet another of those new recent on-loan additions. Out to the far side to Lookman, who goes his way past Andros Townsend, and Townsend just nips him, has a little tug, little nibble, and gives away a free kick, Gabby, in a very attacking position for Fulham this time, just outside the box. Yeah,
they need to get this ball in the box with a good delivery from Kearney. This is where you want Mitrovic to come and find a header and score a goal, because Crystal Palace have got some big defenders in there, so you need Mitrovic to try and get above them and try and score a goal. But it's been promising from Fulham, but you want to see more attempts on goal.
Not seen a huge amount from Andros Townsend in this game so far. It's all been about the likes of Wilfried Zaha. And just there, I mean, trying to help out defensively, gives away the free kick. Will it be Lookman's right foot or Kearney's left that delivers it? Both are standing over the ball. It's about 5 yards in from the edge of the area on the left-hand side. Kearney with a short delivery to Lookman, who peeled away and shoots just wide of goal to the left. In the end, about 4 or 5 yards wide from Anamola Lookman through a sea of bodies in a congested box. We stay 1-0 Palace, but Fulham at least asking some questions.
Yeah, and I like the way they've done that. I mean, Crystal Palace haven't expected that to happen. Another day, that's deflected from Lookman and goes in, so it's clever play from Fulham, and this is what Scott Parker wants to see, some creativity.
Yeah, it could have easily flicked off someone like Mitchell, who was standing there on the edge of the 6-yard box, but the young left-back for Palace, sensible to make sure he kept his foot well away from that fizzing and eventually curling wide effort from Lookman. Ball over the top, another beauty from, I think it was Zaha, looking for Bashuai. In the end, just skidding off the slightly greasy surface after a lot of the drizzle and the rain we've had here in England's capital in recent times. That one out for a goal kick, but again, a timely reminder, Gabby, that Palace at any point you switch off despite your dominance and they can really, really hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, Batshuayi being up there is going to help. You've got Zaha, you've got even Jeffrey Sloop, who's quite an attacking fullback. He can play left wing as well, and then Townsend. And we saw with the goal, he just centre midfielder making that run in behind the back four to score a goal. So Crystal Palace, the tactics are perfect. This is how Roy Hodgson would have set them up before the game. Frustrate Fulham, hit them on the counter-attack, and that's what's going to get them the result today, because I feel like there's more chances in this game for Crystal Palace to counter-attack.
Yeah, you can look at Schlupp and Riedeveld as examples of players who've been moved out of defence into midfield. Schlupp did it a fair bit earlier, to be fair. Hodgson spotted it last season, Riedeveld more this, but they're players who look far happier, and all the shackles seem to be off them when they can focus on slightly more offensive duties.
Yes, 100%, and that's what Schlupp wants to do. You know, he's not there to defend. I know him a little bit, and he likes to attack and score goals, and that's what he'll be doing today.
Yeah, certainly he did it as part of the squad, of course, with Leicester City that won the Premier League 4 years ago now. And it's Palace on the attack again through Schlupp, who picks it up from his left back Mitchell. Nice view from the Ghana star, who sees on the far side Townsend unmarked. Townsend with a 1-2 with Klein as far as Riedeveld, the goal scorer. Back to Mitchell. Palace moving the ball from left to right, back to the left again. Wilfried Zaha's in space. Another tricky run from the Ivory Coast man. Little 1-2. Here goes Zaha, and Alphonse Areola comes surging out of his goal to block it behind, I think, for a corner. The Frenchman feels it should be a goal kick, but it's off him last and behind for another Palace corner kick. Zaha again part of another well-oiled Palace move.
He's just one of them players, isn't he? We're lucky to have a lot of these sort of players in the Premier League that can make 1-2s and get past their fullback with ease, and he's got the beating of the fullback here, and it's going to be a long day for him because Zaha looks like he's on it today.
Corner from the far side is a dangerous one. It's headed half clear, but only as far as Andros Townsend. Tim Ream it is who chests it clear, helped in the end by Aina and out for a throw. Not the worst of deliveries, but not one in the end that Palace can really make count. But as we approach 20 minutes, as the rain continues to tumble down in West London, we stay Fulham 0, Palace 1, and actually the rain is getting worse, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is harmless day to play football. You're only really bothered about the rain when it's freezing cold. It's a lovely day in London, I'm sure. A bit of rain will help you. Footballers don't really like playing in the heat. It makes you more dehydrated during the games. This is the perfect conditions for a game of football.
And sometimes, as one or two of your colleagues have said to me in recent weeks as well, when the weather's been similar, that zip on the pitch, as long as it doesn't start to the ball stop, as long as it can still zip and roll, it can actually help play.
Yeah, 100%. And I think some teams we used to play against used to water the pitch, especially during the summer months, because they like that crisp passing.
The thoughts of former Aston Villa and England striker Gabi Agbonlahor. Oh, and Luka Milivojevic is upended there. It was a mistimed tackle from Zambo Anguissa. It's his first real infraction of the day. It was right in front of referee Graham Scott. No yellow card, but just a little word of caution from the man in the middle to the midfielder. Milivojevic, on his return to the team, pulls himself up and he takes the free kick quickly. Guess who picks it up on the edge of the centre circle? It's Wilfried Zaha, back to Luka Milivojevic. Now to Andros Townsend, who is becoming more involved after a quiet first 15 minutes. His delivery's a beauty! What a chance for Wilfried Zaha.
Wow.
Not sure if the offside flag was up or not. We'll see for sure in a second, but great delivery. Regardless, Zaha completely unmarked, and the way he's reacted, Gabby, I think he was onside and has missed a sitter.
This is what Townsend can do. Oh, he's offside, yeah. He's definitely offside. But
flag stayed down, no?
That's what Townsend can do. I think VAR would have given that as offside, but still you need to finish that, and maybe that's something that Zaha needs to work on, his heading.
Well, from that evidence, absolutely, because it was a great ball and there was nobody near him. And yet again, you talk about how Fulham defenders back off when they're ran at. There, with the aerial attack, again, they were nowhere.
Yeah, listen, I've been guilty of headers like that. It's easily done. You don't plan to head it there.
Fulham, another word of caution, no question, no. Can this back four that seems to be changing week in, week out largely get the job done? It is the same four as their first point of the season last time out against Sheffield United, so for once a degree of consistency, but shipping an early goal and a couple of other rickety moments really are major notes of caution. At the other end, in stark contrast, it's no nonsense, but Cheikhou Kouyaté, former West Ham defender for Palace, gets it and just hoofs it out of play and goes safety first. And maybe Fulham at time need to just take note, be there, and even if it's not pretty, just get the job done by hook or by crook. Ball given away once more by Fulham. This is worrying as Palace counter-attack again through Wilfried Zaha. It was Lamina the guilty party. Zaha is being nibbled at left, right and centre. In the end, he's told to get up, and Lamina's forceful interception was deemed legal by referee Scott. We're back to halfway. Palace retaining possession despite their counter-attack initially being snuffed out by Mario Lamina. Far side, Andros Townsend twisting, turning up against Ademola Lookman. Great delivery, and Alphonse Areola is forced to come tearing out of his goal with a very acrobatic low punch. He was only about body height off the ground, the Frenchman, but the man on loan from Paris Saint-Germain, Gabby, with a very powerful fist in the end.
Yeah, he had to get there because it would have been a tap-in for either Zaha or Batshuayi. But what I really like about Crystal Palace is they want to score straight away. They don't do 5-6 passes before they get a cross in. But this is what you see with Fulham. It's quite slow passing and they're not really going straight for the goal. And this is what's going to cost them eventually, I feel, for Fulham. Not enough shots on target.
We're exactly halfway through the first half. I'm sure there'll be a couple of minutes of time added on as well, as Zambo Anguissa finds Alexandra Mitrovic. Feeds the ball out to Aita on the right-hand side. Another left-footed cross from him. Townsend trying to help out, gets it half clear. It's brought down by Mitrovic. It ricochets off the Palace defence, and again Fulham come forward, but this time Zambo Anguissa's pass is a poor one. It's easily cut out by Tyrick Mitchell. And Crystal Palace can maybe work their way downfield once more through Milivojevic. Powerful ball over the top is overhit. We should give Milivojevic as well some credit, because it was his ball over the top for the goal that began the move in the first place. When Zaha picked it up, it was actually a lovely ball, wasn't it?
Yeah, great ball. We look at this now, we see the replay, I think maybe that might have been offside as well. The replay we've seen here on the screen for that Areola clearance.
Yeah, it was Batshuayi, wasn't it? He was lurking with intent in front of him.
But definitely Milivojevic, he's a captain, isn't he? He's the one that they depend on, and he's a great player.
Just pleased he's back for me. He was someone who was such a key addition, along with a man who's on the bench today, Mamadou Sakho, when Palace stayed up against the odds a few years ago. He was a great January signing, and he's pretty much been a mainstay the whole time through. Great penalty taker, good free kick taker.
He reminds me a bit of Jedinak, when Jedinak used to play
the Aussie,
at Crystal Palace.
Absolutely.
He reminds me of him, the first name on the team sheet, the leader, takes penalties, free kicks. Definitely a similar sort of player.
Yeah, and then lost his place because he had to self-isolate following Serbian international duty at the start of the season. Missed a game or two for that, and then just couldn't get his way back in until now. But I think it's good to have him back. Here's Fulham looking for the equaliser. Oh my goodness, they missed a golden opportunity. Initial shot off the post. It rebounded to Alexander Mitrovic. Lookman's first effort. Mitrovic on the rebound, and he pokes it over the bar. What a chance.
And we say it again, didn't we, earlier, that Lookman's the man that's going to get Fulham back into this game. It's a great shot. And Mitrovic, looking at the replay, It's not a deflection for me. I think Mitrovic has put his hand up on the replay to signal for a corner, but it's a glaring miss from Mitrovic.
Well done, Scott Dan, to at least make it harder for Mitrovic by reacting and sticking a leg across. But for me, that doesn't at all make up for that. That's another great chance for Mitrovic on the back of all of the issues he had last week, I have to say.
Yeah, I'd hate to see Scott Parker's body language after that miss there, because he's a sitter for Mitrovic, and a player of his quality has got to be scoring that. But it's promising from Lookman, you know, he's the one that's going to get Fulham back into this game, and you don't realise that he's both-footed, he can shoot with his left and right, and a very dangerous player.
We'll come back to Mitrovic in a moment, but Fulham are on the attack once more. Through ball from the far side by Kearney looking for Robinson. And in the end, Nathaniel Klein with a nice sliding delivery. Remember, on that second debut for the club, did well, but Palace cheaply give the ball away in the middle of the park, and Fulham have got it back once more. Sambo Anguissa back to Kearney. He's got Townsend just behind him. He's forced to go back to Tim Ream, the former Chicago Fire, New York Red Bulls and Bolton man. Again, Fulham just lacking options, lacking clarity in their attack. Give it away, it trickles out of play, and it is a Crystal Palace throw. I'll go back to poor old Aleksandar Mitrovic. So he missed a penalty last weekend. He gave away a penalty last weekend, and he also missed two more really good chances in the second half later on, didn't he, as well? It was, you'd like to think, just one of those horror show games you want to forget, but this one hasn't been a lot better so far either, which maybe is a bit of a worry.
No, and everyone has confidence, you know, and I've been there when you're missing sitters and your confidence can get low, and he looks like a player so far in the last few games that's lacking confidence, but he's had a great career so far. I'm sure he'll come back and he'll fire some goals in for Fulham.
I totally agree. I mean, of course he was good, but a firebrand at Newcastle, offloaded, loaned to Fulham where he was brilliant, signed by Fulham where he was brilliant, and largely, whatever division he's played in for the Cottagers or for Newcastle, he has been very good, hasn't he? But I don't know, as you say, someone who wears his heart on his sleeve, and when it's not going well, everybody knows it too, with the kind of character he is, if you know where I'm going.
Yeah, but I think he has got that fight in him. He's not going to shy away from chances and shy away from the ball. He'll want to get the goals and get his confidence back and form back.
Yeah, and almost play himself back into form rather than hide. Absolutely, he is not a hider. Is that a free kick to Fulham again? The answer is no on the edge of the box. It was again Aina who went down, but referee says play on. Palace leading 1-0 through Riedeveld. 28 gone here on Premier League Live. Can counter-attack once more. Now that they are a goal up, some of these sweeping counter-attacks are a bit more measured now. No need to necessarily risk it and overdo it, as Milivojevic just calmly puts his foot on the ball, finds young Tariq Mitchell. Left-footed delivery is a beauty. Shot on target from Batshuayi, guided in, but the offside flag was up. And poor Michy Batshuayi scored a cracking goal last week through Riedeveld's through ball that was disallowed for the narrowest of offsides. This one I think a bit more clear-cut, but poor Batshuayi keeps getting the flag up when he finds the back of the net. I bet you know how that feels as a striker. It's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But he's got to be better with his run now. I mean, you can tell a million miles that he was offside there. He will know that as well. He's got to time his runs better.
Yeah, I think last week's was unlucky because it was a brilliant finish that was so marginal. That one, I completely agree. A little bit lazy in how he set himself up before poking it home. And Michy Batshuayi stays on 0 goals for the season, the man on loan from Chelsea. But he's a good player. He's knocking at the door, and you fancy it will only be a matter of time until he does get his opening goal of the campaign. And when you've got someone like Zaha alongside you as well, it really does help. Fulham are back in possession, and they've worked the ball to midway inside the Palace half on this near stand side. Aita back in field to Lamina. Ream slips as he plays it out to his fellow American Robinson. Left-footed delivery is a good one actually, because Aita is ghosting in at the far edge of the penalty area. Good touch from him to Lamina. First time ball is poor though. Scott Dan is more than happy to smack the ball out of play for a throw. Lamina has had a couple of good moments and a couple of frustrating ones, and I think Southampton fans would say that pretty much sums him up. Signed for big money and with big expectations. It never really truly happened at St Mary's, and hence he's found himself on loan here at Fulham. One of multiple loanees in the squad, and indeed in today's match 11. Lookman brings down Milivojevic, and another good sign of a good pro there, as Milivojevic knows, Gabby, exactly where to stand to invite the foul.
Yeah, he's you can tell he's that clever player, isn't he? Sometimes the foreign players are very clever at buying fouls when there's not much contact, because if you were standing in the street and you got pushed by Lookman there, you're not going to fall to the ground, but on the football pitch they do, and they get good fouls of it.
At TalkSport Live, keep your tweets coming in. David Stenson says, I'm fixing my swimming pool in Boynton Beach, Florida, listening to you boys on my headphones, hoping for an Everton win a little bit later on over the weekend. We'll see whether or not that happens, my friend. We'd add a few more in just a couple of moments' time. At TalkSport Live, keep your tweets coming in. Palace on the counter-attack again. Foul to Batshuayi, but play goes on. Advantage played. Wilfried Zaha goes past one man, goes past the second. Loose ball trickles in front of goal. Again, Batshuayi was the man trying to force it home. Keeper was lying prone on the goal line. And in the end, Fulham hacked the ball to safety, but in real trouble once more.
I mean, the right back here has got to get closer to Zaha. It's too easy for him to get at him and gain speed, and this could have easily been a goal here.
Wow, that could have gone anywhere, and in the end it was Anthony Robinson, wasn't it, who reacted and smacked it to safety. But just for too long, you've got too many statuesque Fulham defenders not dealing with the issue and not coping with the pressure that's put upon them. And I
think sometimes as well you have to double up on players like Zaha. I mean, if you know that the full-back might need a bit of help, double up, because you'd rather Batshuayi get the ball than Zaha run into the box one-on-one. So maybe that's something that Fulham need to start doing.
Yeah, got to try something, no question. We talked about how Roy Hodgson's tactics and the way he looks at it can be spot on. Scotty Parker has got to show something similar, hasn't he? If it doesn't work from the get-go, you're set up. A bit of flexibility, bit of evolution in game is what we maybe need to see. Aita in field once more to Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He's looking confident on the edge of the box. Back to Zambo Anguissa. Cross is not dealt with by Palace on this occasion. Robinson to Lookman, who's twisting, turning, desperate to get a shot away. It's Riedeveld instead, though, the goal scorer, who puts in a stout tackle. Kouyaté tries to get it clear as far as Zaha. He's dispossessed as Zambo Anguissa puts in a tough tackle himself. Ball goes loose. Robinson's delivery for Fulham again over the top. This one is overhit, though. There's no Aita charging in this time. Loftus-Cheek does at least manage to win the throw up against Turek Mitchell. And again, we've seen promise from Fulham, but just that final delivery, that moment of brilliance, it's all the lacking, isn't it?
And also, I think it's good defending from Crystal Palace. We have to give them credit. Their centre-halves are in the right positions. They're getting tight to the main threats of Loftus-Cheek and Mitrovic when the crosses come in. So you have to give Crystal Palace credit, but I'll be happy if Scott Parker with the way Fulham are playing. Rather
than a throw in the end, it's deemed a foul by Mitchell on Loftus-Cheek, so it's actually a Fulham free kick rather than throw by this near right corner flag. Perfect left-footed territory for Kearney. In swinging deliveries, a good one. Zambo Anguissa was up there unmarked, should have done better. Header about 3 yards over the bar from close range.
Yeah, these are the chances that you want to get on target at least. I mean, it's a free header there. It doesn't even have to really jump for it, and you have to be getting this on target. This is, for me, it's a good chance.
It's all the worse when you see it second time, actually, isn't it? He rises very easily above the Palace defence, and looking at his reaction on the big screen, boy, does the man know it. Yep, Cameroon international, signed from Marseille, Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa, another player who's been kind of in and out of the starting lineup during his time at Craven Cottage, but he's in at the moment, and keen to try and prove his worth. As Scott Parker impassively looks on, that rain has eased a bit as a bit of lighter cloud and the odd little tiny bit of blue sky shows itself away to our left. Parker, no doubt, already mulling over what he might do at half-time, tactically, personnel-wise and team talk-wise. His team a goal down with 10 minutes to go till the break. Palace back in possession. Wilfried Zaha tries a very luxurious back heel. Wasn't necessarily connected with as he intended, but the loose ball falls back to a teammate, and Palace do keep hold of the ball through Nathaniel Klein, who's forced back. He at least wins the throw. Zaha's moment of luxury there didn't quite play off, but you probably afford him that when you consider what he does bring to the table, Gabby.
Yeah, he's one of them players. He can't do no wrong in that Palace side. He's the main boy. He's the prized asset. He can do whatever he likes. If he wants to flick it, he can do it.
As long as he doesn't pout and moan and drag everyone else down, though, which is what Hodgson has obviously been fearful of on occasion. That is the one thing, isn't it? He's got to keep his pecker up and stay positive.
Yeah, and I think he will do. You know, the transfer window's gone. There wasn't no offers for him. He was disappointed because he wants to play at a higher club, but now he knows the window's closed. I'm sure he'll be over it and give his all for the Crystal Palace team, and then maybe January the 1st comes, he might have a little sulk again.
But certainly you're right, the signs are the last couple of games that's exactly what's happening. And as you well know, he'd give himself a better chance of a move if he didn't pout and moan, because clubs wouldn't be then worried about his attitude, and the whole thing would probably help him, Palace, and maybe another move. Anyway, we'll wait and see. He's in a Palace shirt, and he's a quality player, Wilfried Zaha. Milivojevic will take this corner, right-footed, short delivery, not the best, headed clear. Ruben Loftus-Cheek it was back helping out his defenders, and it's a lovely surging run as well from the man on loan from Chelsea for Fulham. Little 1-2 to try and free Kearney on the far side. Ball over hit though. Kearney's never going to be able to keep that one in play, unfortunately.
I really wanted to see Loftus-Cheek just drive there with the ball, drive through midfield. You see the likes of Grealish, the likes of Mason Mount do it. I just want to see more of Loftus-Cheek. I feel like he plays the easy pass at times, and he's got a lot more to offer because he's got the potential.
It's a really interesting point, because he surged forward, didn't he, from his own goal line to halfway in a heartbeat, and at that point just immediately looked to give it away. Is it a confidence issue maybe slightly, that he just needs to perhaps trust that he can do that at this level?
Yeah, I think so, and like you says, it's confidence, isn't it? I mean, once he gets his first goal of the season, I'm sure he'll start doing them sort of things, because that's what he has in his locker. He's that sort of player. He's strong, he's quick, he can score goals, and he's been in England squads recently, so everyone knows he can do it. He's just got to show it consistently now in the Premier League.
Other thing with Loftus-Cheek for me is just when he was starting to play more regularly for Chelsea and get into the England picture, he got injured, didn't he? Just take a look at this half chance for Fulham for a second. In the end, it shoots off a Palace head. It's kept in play on this near stand side by Aita for Fulham. His cross deflected clear. Fulham do pick it up about 25-30 yards out, but they're forced back to near halfway, and back to Tosin Adara Bioyo, young centre half wearing 16. He plays it out wide to Anthony Robinson. Now back to the captain Tom Kearney once more. Back to Robinson. This is better play. Back to Kearney again. Slightly more inventive and positive from Scott Parker's team. 37 gone, Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1. Zambo Anguissa, the man who missed that sitter of a header a few minutes ago. Again, the easy pass, options further field, but he goes back infield again to Adara Bioya. And eventually Fulham frustratingly give the ball away. Palace have it, and they have the opportunity at 1-0 up to maybe counter-attack again. And just quickly back as Zaha has his shirt tugged by Ita and wins the free kick. Back to Loftus-Cheek. I think he got injured and was out for a good chunk, wasn't he, with I think a busted Achilles, just at the wrong time for his development.
Yeah, and I feel like, I watched the game. I think it was early on in the season, wasn't it, against Brighton, and he was very, very poor. He could have been taken off after 25-30 minutes, and I think that's what Frank Lampard's seen in him, that he needs to go out maybe a bit of a lower club than Chelsea and show that he can hack it in this league.
And regain his old fitness, his old composure. Do you remember when Wayne Bridge, when he was at Chelsea and had been injured, was loaned to Fulham for half a season, and it worked well as a way to kind of ease yourself back into the fold and then go back to your parent club, as you say, that bit fitter and that bit sharper and
100%.
that bit more confident. Yeah,
and we've seen it with Barkley as well. You know, like Chelsea want to go places where they can't have players that are inconsistent. They have to have players that are doing it every week, and that's what Lampard has let the likes of Barkley and Loftus-Cheek go out alone, because they're not doing it consistently for him.
As we know, largely, apart from maybe last night for Gabby's old team, Villa, Barkley has been pretty good, hasn't he? Including that winner a couple of games ago. He's been very, very sharp. Here come Fulham, edge of the penalty area to Mitrovic.
That's where Mitrovic has to do more. He's getting the ball into his feet, he's trying little flicks, and that's not his game. He's not going to get flicks and turn and get past players. He needs to hold it or be strong, set it and get in the box. I think that's what Scott Parker will be very disappointed with him in this first half.
Well, he has scored 3 goals in all competitions so far this season, which is nearly half of anything that Fulham have mustered at all. One from Lookman, as we know, last week, a couple from Cordova Reed and one from Camerat. And that has been it, and that's including in the Carabao Cup as well. Goals have been a little bit hard to come by, but you could say the same for Palace as well. Zaha's got 4. Townsend and Kouyaté had 1 heading into today, and now Riedeveld has 1, but both teams with only 7 goals in all competitions so far this campaign. And I know we're still relatively early, but it is still not enough, we can safely say. And again, a dearth of quality forward as the ball is poked through to Ademola Lookman, and we know he's quick, we know he's good, but nobody's going to keep that one in play again, are they?
No, it's a poor pass, but he's making good runs, Lookman. He wants the ball, he's not afraid. He just looks like the sort of player that Fulham need, a player that's come on loan, he's got nothing to lose, you know, he wants to make a mark and there's no pressure on him. But like we said as well, there's no fans in the stadium. You want to see more from some of these Fulham players. There's no pressure. You're 1-0 down, the fans aren't on your back because you're 1-0 down. Go and express yourself.
5 loanees in the starting 11 Aina from Torino, Lookman from RB Leipzig, Loftus-Cheek from Chelsea, Areola from Paris Saint-Germain. I'll come back to the other in just a second, because here comes Milivojevic for Crystal Palace.
It'd be easier to name who isn't who isn't on loan.
It is a very odd state of affairs. Lamina from Southampton is the other, by the way. So, yeah, you just wonder whether or not, with that lack of kind of consistency, if it does hurt you, you bring in the new faces to try and sharpen things up and get a better fit. But I don't know, that lack of consistency of player, I think it could be difficult. And Fulham, bottom of the table, just like a couple of years ago, could be staring at a tough old season ahead.
I feel like as well, like Palace find a way to win, don't they?
Yes, they do.
It's not about playing this amazing football.
Sometimes it can be
it's
grim.
Staying in the league and winning games. Sooner or later, Fulham have got to maybe change their tactics of this, try to play this tick-attacker football and just try and win games, get that first win, because sooner or later it's going to be 7-8 games without a win, and you know it's going to be massive problems for Scott Parker and his Fulham job.
And largely Palace's away form has been very poor as well. And also London Derby form has been poor too. They've lost 5 of their last 6 Premier League away games. They've only had 2 clean sheets in 28 London derbies. So away games and games in the capital, largely not great hunting grounds. But Palace more than happy today, given this opposition, to again set their stall out, take the lead and look well set. Fulham, by the way, their record in derbies and their away record equally paltry, I'm afraid, as well. In front of their home stands, if not their home fans, behind closed doors, though, should be something that they can try and grasp from it. Here is Ruben Loftus-Cheek to Aita, out to the edge of the box. Mitrovic, through ball, is just about controlled well by Kearney against his fellow number 10 Townsend, but as the ball ricochets, it's picked up well by Cheka Kayate. It's put out of play for a Fulham throw on the far side. These two met twice, by the way, in the Premier League a couple of seasons ago before Fulham's relegation. Each time, Palace won by 2-0. They've not won 3 straight in the league against Fulham since 1930, almost exactly 90 years ago, and they've never recorded consecutive away league wins at Craven Cottage. Ball swept in from the far side, easily claimed by the Palace keeper, Vicente Gaeta. And again, Fulham don't really make a decent position count, and again Gabby Scott Parker, their boss, just looks on impassively chewing his chewing gum, and maybe wondering what he's going to do at half time.
Yeah, he looks very frustrated, doesn't he? I mean, I feel for him, to be honest, because apart from that goal, really, there's not been anything from Palace going forward, and it's been a story of Fulham season, really, not scoring and conceding sloppy goals.
Yep, Mario Lemina, by the way, was the man fouled by Jeffrey Schlupp. It's a free kick taken quickly by Fulham, edge of the centre circle. Kearney out to Anthony Robinson one more time. In swinging cross, looking for Mitrovic, but Cheka Kayate gets there first. It was Batshuayi fouled. He was. Lemina, who'd been upended himself a moment before, now brings his opponent down, and Mario Lemina is down and appears to be in some pain, and I think Batshuayi might have fallen awkwardly as well.
Yeah, it looks like a little clash there, but maybe Palace suits them now, have a little breather now and try and get into half-time with the 1-0 goal in tap. But I feel like Fulham just need to, like I said, just try and find a way to win, try and find a way to get some goals and try and change the style of play that they're trying to play today.
And just to back up what I was saying before, Fulham on a Premier League record run of 11 straight away defeats in London derbies in the Premier League. So not boding too well. At TalkSport Live, keep your tweets coming in. Shout out for King Powers, listening to us from Awashi in Ghana. And Carol has tweeted another beautiful picture from the Florida coast where the dolphins are swimming out to sea. Say the dolphins back. Loving your lovely commentary, Russ and Gabby. That's from the Gulf beaches of Florida, USA. Carol, always a pleasure, my friend, to hear from you. 44.5 gone. Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1 at TalkSport Live. Keep your tweets coming in. Get to a couple more before half-time, I'm sure. Here is Aita once more. Fulham push back to their own half again. And I should say as well, Gabby, the pitch is cutting up a bit. I know the weather's not been great, but increasingly as the half's gone on, it's not looking brilliant, is it, for flowing football?
No, but maybe that'll suit Fulham. They'll be able to change their tactics and try and go a bit more direct. I mean, wouldn't you like to see maybe go a bit direct into Mitrovic and try and play second balls off him and just try and get, like I said, a result? Because this football they're trying to play might look nice and pretty, but if he's still on 1 point after 6 games, it's not a good start to the season.
Well, it certainly isn't. There'll only be 1 additional minute as well, as Palace try on the counter-attack to get a second. Steaming forward down this near stand side. The ball was engineered as far as Batshuayi, who's back on his feet after that collision with Lamina. Lamina seems to be okay as well. Fulham do eventually win it back through Loftus-Cheek. Another purposeful surging run from him. Under pressure, he forced to go inside to Aita. Was Aita fouled by Batshuayi? The answer is no, and all of a sudden it's 2-on-3 as Palace counter-attack through Batshuayi. Beats one player. Is he fouled by Zambo and Guisa? He is. And Palace win a free kick with what will probably be the last kick of the first half, just on the edge of the D. Excellent territory for the visitors.
Yeah, it's a harsh foul, isn't it? We see the replay here. I mean, it's a 50-50 challenge, but this is the last thing Scott Parker will want, for Fulham to give away a free kick so in such a promising position, and Milivojevic is known for scoring free kicks.
He most certainly is, and as we know, Andros Townsend, it can be a bit erratic, but when it works, he has got a powerful shot on him. I've seen some Townsend scorchers, perlers that have fizzed into the corners over the years. Could be him left-footed. It could be the club captain Milivojevic on his return to the team right-footed. Both of them standing either side of this free kick, just to the left edge of the D. Milivojevic takes it! Oh, it's just wide. Just curled about a foot wide in the end of Areola's right hand upright. And you hear referee Graham Scott's whistle. The half-time whistle blows at Craven Cottage. And it was Jado Riedeveld with the only goal of the game pretty early on in the first half. Excellent work from Milivojevic with the through ball. Zaha kept running. Schlupp involved as well. Back to Zaha. And Riedeveld made no mistake poking it home. Palace haven't created a huge amount else. Fulham, plenty of the ball. They've huffed and puffed, but still, they're staring at yet another Premier League defeat. The league's bottom club continue to be in all sorts of trouble in this London derby. At the break, Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1 on Premier League Live.
As darkness sweeps around the globe at 8 p.m. on the 18th of November, 25,000 people worldwide will pull their running shoes on to hit the road for a virtual 5 or 10k at Run in the Dark. I'm Mark Pollock, and by joining us to Run in the Dark this November, you'll be supporting the Mark Pollock Trust and our charity partner Collaborative Cures, whose mission it is to cure paralysis in our lifetime. Register now at runinthedark.org and get your medal, your flashing armband, and your Run in the Dark virtual timing app. Thank you.
Let's talk about you looking after your business. Ford, looking after your vehicle. Let's talk hassle-free Ford leasing. Just a fixed monthly payment, no motor tax to deal with, and no maintenance or servicing to pay on selected plans. Get the all-new Ford Kuga from €425 per month. Hassle-free Ford lease. Now we're talking. Search Ford lease or text Ford to 50015 to speak to us about leasing your next vehicle.
Text cost a standard rate. Price quoted for a Kuga Titanium with no maintenance over 4 years with 3 monthly rentals in advance. 20,000 kilometres per annum. Business users only. Price excludes VAT. Ford Lease is provided by Merriam Fleet Management, trading as Ford Lease.
Get ready and hold on tight, because the Premier League is here! Which teams will stay on track and who'll go off the rail? Get the Irish Sun for top transfer news, exclusive star interviews and opinions from the biggest names in football. Plus expert analysis of every action-packed match in our fantastic goals pull-out each weekend. Stay up to speed, because you never know what the Premier League is going to throw up. Pick up the Irish Sun today.
This is not the time for business as usual. It's time for effort and imagination. It's time to use technology to start your online plans. It's time to work from home to stay in touch. It's time to look to each other. Erscá Céile. Ireland is working online with help from Black Knight and .ie, because now we need better than business as usual. Call Black Knight on 059 918 3027 or visit blackknight.ie.
123ink.ie for all your home office needs, including printers, ink, toners, paper,
Label markers, binders, pens, bins, batteries, boxes, chalk, compass, files, memory sticks, highlighters, glue, notepads, pencils,
Whoa! And we're cheaper than your current supplier. 123inc.ie. For home, for office, for less.
Introducing Guardson Sport. Protect your sporting equipment from COVID-19 for up to 14 days with Guardson Sport disinfectant treatment. Ideal in team sport settings with the sharing of balls, rackets, gloves, helmets and all other sporting equipment. Guardson Sport kills COVID-19 on impact, keeping surfaces free from COVID-19 and other viruses and bacteria for up to 14 days by creating a protective polymer layer on application. For more information on Guardson Sport and other quality assured, certified and approved PPE, visit yourcovidprotection.com.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Fulham against Crystal Palace from Craven Cottage. I'm your host, Russell Hargreaves. Alongside me, the former Aston Villa and England striker Gabby Agbonlahor. And this is Premier League Live. Just the one goal so far in the London derby. And it's gone the way of the visitors. Here's how the first half played out. Lovely through ball, another chance for Palace, and it's an opening goal. After Fulham dominate the opening proceedings, Palace hit them on the counter, and it's a first of the season from Jairo Riedewald, the Dutchman, back into the team in midfield, outstanding last week, and he gets the opening goal. It's Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1.
Zaha's in the area, you can't let him shoot, you can't force him onto his left, but he's got a good left foot, and then the ball comes back out. Look how easy it is for the third man running to get in behind. I mean, Kearney doesn't follow him, he passes him on, and it's a great finish by the midfielder, but so frustrating for Fulham. I mean, it's like the story of their season so far. They're on top so much in the game and they concede silly goals.
Here's Fulham looking for the equaliser. Oh my goodness, they missed a golden opportunity. Initial shot off the post, it rebounded to Alexander Mitrovic. Lookman's first effort, Mitrovic on the rebound, and he pokes it over the bar. What a chance.
And we say it again, didn't we, earlier, that Lookman's the man that's going to get Fulham back into this game. It's a great shot, and Mitrovic, looking at the replay, it's not a deflection for me. I think Mitrovic has put his hand up on the replay to signal for a corner, but it's a glaring miss from Mitrovic.
One of two glaring misses. The other, of course, was Sambo Anguissa's header from a Kearney corner that he put over. So, to be fair, Gabby Agbonlahor, despite their disappointing performance largely, Fulham have actually carved out two very, very good chances to be level.
Yeah, on another day, Fulham would have went into half-time probably 3-1 up, so it's promising from Fulham, but they just need that first goal, and I think they'll score a few more in this game because Palace look dangerous on the counter-attack, but they've not had many chances.
OK, so Villa 0, Leeds 3 last night, West Ham 1, Man City 1 earlier at the break in our game, Fulham 0, Palace 1. A couple more matches to look forward to live on TalkSport Live a little bit later on. Tom Rennie and Dave Kitson, your commentary team for Manchester United against Chelsea. That one kicking off at 5:30 UK, so in just over 90 minutes' time. We've already heard from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now let's hear from Gianfranco Zola, the Chelsea legend and of course part of the coaching staff too, saying that Peter Cech could still do a job in goal for Chelsea. Of course, at 38, the club's former stopper, now back as goalkeeping coach and technical director, he's been named in the broader Premier League squad despite retiring a couple of seasons ago.
Well, 38 is still, especially for a goalkeeper, is an age that is nowadays is I would say quite normal. So Peter has got unbelievable ability, unbelievable experience. I don't know the condition of his body right now, to be honest. but if we discuss the experience, the ability as a goalkeeper, there is no doubt he can do that.
So, Gabby, Peter Cech is 4 years older than you, but he is a keeper where they can carry on forever. Could you ever see him actually playing again at Chelsea?
No, I can't see it. I think Lampard's just done that as like a last resort. I mean, if he's bringing Peter Cech on before Caballero or Kepa, then...
Is he not better than Kepa?
That's harsh, that's harsh. But, like he says, there must be a reason he's put him on there, because I'm sure you only need 3 keepers in your squad, but maybe he's just not fancying Kepa at all, and Peter Cech's probably maybe, in Lampard's mind, a better keeper than Kepa.
He's actually younger than Caballero, isn't he? Because I think he's 39, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, that's how that one stands. Just a word on the match, Man U Chelsea. How do you see it actually going?
Listen, it's a hard one, isn't it, to try and predict, because we don't know what Manchester United are going to turn up. We don't know what Manchester United defence are going to turn up, or Chelsea defence. What I do feel is that if both teams defend like they have done recently this season, it could be a high-scoring game and maybe even a 3-3 draw.
And Liverpool, Sheffield United, our 8 p.m. commentary. That's Barry Swain and Paul Mortimer. Simple Liverpool win, or maybe Sheffield having got a point at last against Fulham with Liverpool's injuries. Could they do something?
Listen, I think it will be a Liverpool win, but I don't think it'll be an easy win. I feel like Sheffield United, they're fighting for their lives already to stay in the Premier League, because they've started the season off so poorly. They've not picked up many points. I think they're on 1 point, aren't they? So they need a result sooner or later, and sometimes it's the games that you don't think that teams are going to win that they do win. So you can't put it against a shock today from Sheffield United, but I do feel Liverpool will have enough going forward to win the game.
OK, let's take this opportunity to put a bit more meat on the bones of the early match then. Our commentator was John Anderson, looking back at that West Ham draw with Man City.
West Ham United won, Manchester City won. After 9 successive defeats against City, the Hammers finally got something out of this fixture, and deservedly so. They took the lead in spectacular fashion after 18 minutes as Mikel Antonio fired an acrobatic overhead kick into the net for a thoroughly merited half-time lead. Pep Guardiola needed a change. He brought on Phil Foden at half-time, and within 6 second-half minutes, the 20-year-old had swivelled and fired home the equaliser. Though they were the better side thereafter, City lacked sparkle, while West Ham defended brilliantly to preserve their point. Only 8 points from 5 games now for City, who stay below halfway. West Ham United won, Manchester City won.
John, thank you very much indeed. And just a thought back on John's analysis there, West Ham, largely under David Moyes, have punched kind of back above their weight of late, haven't they? And City, for whatever reason, they're still not quite where they would want to be.
Yeah, like I said, it's hard for Manchester City. You know, Kevin De Bruyne today from the start, Aguero half fit, not at his best, no Gabriel Jesus. And for me, Leroy Sané is a massive loss, selling him to Bayern Munich, because he would have probably won them the game today. So I feel like there is a few problems in this Manchester City side, and it's going to be really difficult for them now, I feel, to run away with the league. I feel like I still fancy Liverpool to win this league.
OK, as you mentioned, at TalkSport Live, keep your tweets coming in. Brent Parker, as ever, said it's a brilliant treat from his restaurant in Montana. Another beautiful burger that's been sizzling and cooked on the griddle ahead of lunch for everybody later. Can of Mountain Dew alongside it as well. Can't beat a can of that. Actually had a cheeky bottle myself heading in today. Brent says, catching all the comments on a snowy day in Montana, loving every minute, boys, and hoping for a win for my Gunners over the course of the weekend. Burgers on the menu and a case of Dew out in your honour. Brent, you are a top man. At TalkSport Live, keep your tweets to come in. We've had tons more. I'll read through the best of those in the second half as well. But in a moment, it's the second 45 minutes. Fulham Crystal Palace to come on Premier League Live.
This October, watch the big games every weekend with Sky Sports and Sports Extra half price. This week it's Man United Chelsea live only on Sky Sports.
Rashford, Martial!
In a star-studded clash.
Mason Mount.
Get Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports half price for 6 months. Search Sky Sports Sale. New sports customers only. Standard pricing applies after 6 months or if cancelling one element of the bundle. Minimum term and further terms apply.
I left school early, so my reading and writing were never great. It was like a migraine for the last 16 years. At home, at work, constant. How am I going to get around this? But with the course, all that has changed. Now I can read to my kids. Reading bedtime story to my kids, it means a lot to me.
If reading, writing, maths or technology is holding you back, take the first step. Free phone 1-800-2020-65 or text LEARN to 550 to see how we can help. This free and confidential service is supported by your local ETB, Solis and Nala.
Create the Premier League atmosphere at home with Harvey Norman, the home of the big screen. Feel like you're on the pitch with our stunning range of 4K smart LED and OLED TVs from LG, starting from just $449. Plus, hear every kick, save, tackle, decision with LG's best-in-class soundbars. Get TV ready for all the big games with Harvey Norman. Shop online today or safely in our spacious stores. Harvey Norman, home of the big screen. Go! Demanding a high performance from your team? You should be demanding the same from your tires. The Irish Tyre Industry Association is urging motorists to stay safe this winter and check the condition of your tyres. You could even be liable for a fine and 2 penalty points if found driving with tyres below the legal tread depth limit of 1.6 millimetres. ITIA expert technicians will carry out a free tyre safety check to ensure your tyres are safe and legal. Visit itia.ie to find your local expert.
As darkness sweeps around the globe at 8 p.m. on the 18th of November, 25,000 people worldwide will pull their running shoes on to hit the road for a virtual 5 or 10k at Run in the Dark. I'm Mark Pollock, and by joining us to Run in the Dark this November, you'll be supporting the Mark Pollock Trust and our charity partner Collaborative Cures, whose mission it is to cure paralysis in our lifetime. Register now at runinthedark.org and get your medal, your flashing armband, and your Run in the Dark virtual timing app. Thank you.
At Paddy Power, we know competition for the remote control can be fierce at the weekends. So in order to give the non-football loving occupants of your house something to do, here are some of our top suggestions. Go for a walk. Walk the dog. Go cycling. Cycle the dog. Recycle the dog. Just go! All very good options, we say. And that's not the only one. If one leg of your 4+ fold ACCA lets you down, get a free bet on all football leagues and markets. Paddy Power. Max free bet €10. Min odds 1 to 5 on each leg. Online exclusive. Excludes shop bets. T's and C's apply. 18+. Need help? Visit gamblingcare.ie.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Fulham against Crystal Palace from Craven Cottage. I'm your host, Russell Hargreaves, and alongside me is the former Aston Villa and England striker Gabby Agbonlahor. This is Premier League Live. Fulham making their way out back to the middle for the second half. Crystal Palace having done the same just a moment ago, of course, from the quite rare corner entry position, a corner tunnel still here as well. It hadn't been the case, of course, until the rebuild, and it is something we do see, funnily enough, at the Crystal Palace Stadium too, but it's something at the moment that is happening as the work goes on at Craven Cottage. The rain has come back again as we prepare for the second half. Gabby Agbonlahor alongside me. Doesn't look like there's any changes at the break, Gabs, but it's going to be fascinating to see, isn't it, if Fulham can come out with some new tactics and some new purpose here.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it a few times, didn't I, how I'd like them to try and mix it up sometimes when it's not working, the passing game, and try and look into Mitrovic and play on the second balls. But I'm not a Premier League manager. I'm sure Scott Parker will know what he's doing and have a plan, and maybe even try and bring in Kamara, who's a beast and a strong athletic player who can score goals as well. But I just feel Fulham, if they don't win these sort of games, what games are they going to win this season? So this for me was a must win before the game started.
Just quickly as well, Kirk Buzzins had tweeted me among various people saying, are you enjoying your Mountain Dew, Russ? And I mentioned that there was a picture from Brent of his cafe that had a cheeky Mountain Dew in it. Would appear, Gabby, that on a show that our very own Tom Rennie was co-presenting, he said in the week that New England Revolution are the Mountain Dew of teams, and then the fact I like a Mountain Dew was raised, and as a result everybody is pouring in on the fact that I enjoy a cheeky bottle of Mountain Dew. I actually had one earlier. Do you ever partake? Is that one of your drinks if you need it or not?
No, I don't drink. I only drink water.
Okay, so not even like a fizzy pop or anything. Your body is that much of a temple.
Exactly.
I'm very impressed, Gabby. Anyway, that would explain it, and there's quite a few others that came in as well, and yes, Tom is not wrong with my assessment of that particular drink. I do enjoy it. Anyway, we're off for the second half. Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1, and here come Fulham already through Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who slips as he manages to still engineer a left-footed pass to Anthony Robinson. Fair play to him. Robinson in field to Lookman, who beats one player in Wiedewald, beats a second in Klein. The ball goes loose. It doesn't quite fall in the end for Alexander Mitrovic. Lookman was buzzing on the rebound. Wiedewald got there just ahead of him. And now Batshuayi completes the clearance. At least more direction and positivity early in the second half from Fulham.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they've got to be positive. They've got to try and get an early goal, because I still feel that Palace are dangerous on the counter-attack and could still get a second goal.
Tim Ream picks it up for Fulham bang on halfway to his fellow centre-half, Tosin Adarabioyo. Now back to the right-back, who I thought had a decent first half, Ola Aina, the Nigerian, known as we say from Torino in Serie A. Ream with a nice ball to the other fullback, American Anthony Robinson. He plays a 1-2 with his captain Kelly. Robinson left-footed delivery, takes a tiny deflection as it fizzes to the edge of the box. Scott Down heads it half clear for Palace. It's picked up in the end by Mario Lemina for Fulham. He surges forward. His through ball takes a deflection, and in the end trickles into the receiving hands of Vicente Gaeta, the Crystal Palace goalkeeper. So he's in goal for the visitors. His team lines up with Klein, Dan Kayate and Mitchell at the back. Townsend, Riedeveld the goal scorer, Milivojevic and Schlupp in midfield. Batshuayi and Zaha, who set up the goal up front. Fulham, also unchanged for this second half. I've got Ariola in goal, Aina, Robinson, Adara Boyoyo and Ream at the back. It's Lamina, Kearney, Sambo and Guisa, Loftus-Cheek and Lookman supporting Mitrovic up front. And has Alexander Mitrovic been fouled there? The answer is yes. Kayate comes into the back of him, and Fulham get a free kick about midway inside the Eagles' territory, Gabby.
Yeah, this is where they need to make the most of this now. Like I said earlier, get a decent ball in the box for Mitrovic. That's his strength. And then they get the ball and then they play it back to the centre half.
Frustrating. Anyway, Ream to Zambo and Guisa and back to Aita once more. And as you say, if you've got yourself into a good position, just go for the jugular, force your pressure and just go forward. And again, they just lack the conviction and perhaps the quality to do so, Scott Parker's men. That's despite all their changes and tweaks to this team in recent weeks as well. Anyway, here's Lamina back to Aina once more. Managed to get the cross in. Scream of anguish as he slides into the advertising hoarding on the far side. I think he's fine to continue. Just wondering whether or not he took a little nudge there, Aina. The answer was no. Fulham and Gabby continue again, but again they head it back to halfway.
Yeah, I just feel like they need to try and just... I know everyone now is obsessed with playing this lovely, lovely football, but sometimes use Mitrovic's strengths, get crosses into the box, get it into him. He's a strong striker, play the second balls off him, because what they're doing so far is not working, Fulham, and I can't see them getting back into the game unless they change their style of play.
Here's Robinson cutting in field, does well via a ricochet to take the ball around Townsend, but again, rather than going forward, goes back to his fellow American Ream. And now to Sambo and Guisa once more. Through ball well controlled on the far side by Mario Lamina. Head up, looking for his options. The Gabonese, they're limited. Long ball forward from Adara Boyoyo in the end, looking for Robinson. It was a bit telegraphed, it was a bit easy to read, and Nathaniel Klein is the man who makes the interception back at right back for a second spell for Crystal Palace. Seems a long time ago, but it was actually 2012 as a 21-year-old that Klein left Palace the first time for Southampton. Been there, been to Liverpool, and now he is back. Crikey, 8 years goes quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I feel like he's got a point to prove, you know. He wants to be back playing, that's what he's doing now.
Aina with a decent run there. That was much more like it on the far side. Mitchell stuck to him. It's back for a corner for Fulham, and that is just what they want. So we talked about Klein, the right back there for Palace, the right back for Fulham, showing a nice bit of attacking intent there.
Yeah, I feel like the right back for Fulham is very, very good going forward, but I feel like he's been questionable defensively this game so far, and Fulham are going to need him to put in a better performance defensively against Zaha.
Okay, so it will be Tom Kearney, the captain, signalling maybe a high ball floated in. In fact, it's a little fizzing delivery. Gaeta mishandled it first time as it came right to his gloves near his near post, and second time around he dived, got there just ahead of Zambo and Guisa and atoned for his own error, but nearly a squeaky moment.
Yeah, I mean, Batshuayi's done him no favours there, the goalkeeper, and he's done well there to save that. We can see on the replay that I think another keeper on their day lets that in.
So Batshuayi tried to head it clear but missed it completely, and it meant that the Spaniard only saw it very, very late, right on his own goal line, and kicked with real pace. And of course a fairly wet ball, a slippery ball as well, with this drizzle that's been pouring down. In the end, Palace and Gaeta ride their luck and get the ball clear. Palace though give the ball away.
No one's breaking their neck to get past Mitrovic there. I mean, I look at Lookman there and Loftus-Cheek, that they're not breaking their neck, are they, to get forward and make runs in behind? If that was Wilfried Zaha, he'd be breaking his neck getting forward.
Batshuayi too.
Yeah, you want to see more from Fulham on the counter-attack. That was a perfect scenario there for Lookman and Loftus-Cheek to come flying forward.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point. Mitrovic managed to at least win a throw by playing it off one of the Palace defenders, but it isn't anything like they could have had they counter-attacked with a bit more purpose and direction and structure. As it was, Gabby's spot on. Everybody trotted forward, and Mitrovic is certainly not the quickest. That's not one of his attributes, and all he could do was actually do well to win the throw. And oh dearie me, Fulham caught with a really sloppy offside there, and they give away the territory they gained as well.
Yeah, it must be so frustrating as a manager.
That's bad.
I mean, to get a throw in that area, you know, you want a little 1-2, stay on side and get a crossing for Mitrovic. I mean, it must be so frustrating.
Just looking at the replay there, it's played back. Well, actually, do you know?
Yeah, it doesn't look offside.
No, I'm not entirely sure it was. To their credit, maybe we were a bit harsh on Fulham there, as Aina plays it to Loftus-Cheek and back. I'm pretty sure Mitchell is goal side of them the whole way through.
Yeah, he was. I agree.
Well, I guess when it rains it pours, and that isn't just the weather, but it's how it's going for Fulham in this game and in this season as well. They can equal their longest winless start to a Premier League season here, unfortunately. It was 6 games in 2011 to 12. This would be 6. They've never previously lost their 3 opening home games of a league season. That's ever. And they are on the cusp, maybe, of doing so here. We will wait and see. Can they turn it around on the banks of the River Thames? 53 gone almost. It's Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1. It's ever a pleasure to bring you this game and to have your company around the world on Premier League Live. We love being your global ambassador, your global bringer of the world's best league, as we like to think it is. But that big question is, how long will Fulham stay in this league? They've given the ball away. Chance for Palace to counter-attack. Good play initially from Townsend, but he was dispossessed by a good sliding tackle from Mario Lemina, who wins it back. And Fulham can now counter-attack themselves. Kearney, head up. At least there's a more purposeful run this time inside him from Loftus-Cheek. Kearney opts not to use him or Lookman, and he goes out to Anthony Robertson. And by the time it got to Robinson, he had 2 men around him. Not sure what he was supposed to do there.
I think Kearney there, he's going away from goal, isn't he? Lookman was the pass.
And Lookman looked frustrated when he didn't get it as well. Ball ricochets though. Robinson tries to keep it in, and it just goes out of play before he puts in his cross. Yeah, sorry Gabby, it was written all over Lookman's face that he wanted that ball earlier.
I think he was on for the ball in the middle, wasn't he? And Kearney was forcing it out wide to the left back, and Lookman looked very frustrated because at the moment the Fulham players aren't on his level. I mean, he's looking for the ball in certain areas, but they can't seem to find him.
Chucks has tweeted in saying, I think Fulham will be the first team relegated the way they play. Sloppy at the back, easily broken through. Palace will go on to win this 3-1. And Ola from Ibadan in Nigeria. Great commentary, guys. It keeps me alive and takes away any bored moments. Well, Ola, good to hear. Glad that we are keeping you nicely entertained. It's what we try and do. And in Kurudu in Lagos in Nigeria, listening and enjoying the commentary as well. Guys, thank you for that. Here come Palace looking for a second. Here's Wilfred Zaha. Just overhits the cross. It was a nice run from the Ivory Coast international. Maybe slightly off balance up against Lemina as he tried to put his ball through. Fizzed over the head of Bashiwai and out of play. But just for a moment, Zaha nearly cut them open as he got the beating of Ream.
Yeah, it's great play from Zaha, but like if you look at the defending there from Ream, it's amateur defending. I mean, this easily could have went into the top corner here off the keeper and in, and it's something out of nothing, a flick on, and Zaha's running in on the back 4.
He's got 40 US caps, Tim Ream. He's 33 now, and as we touched on before, he's been a real stalwart, but he returned second time around to the Premier League a couple of years on from after Fulham struggled with he and others at the back last time. Doesn't seem to be looking any prettier for he or for his new look colleagues around him. Fulham give the ball away once more, 1 down, 55 minutes gone. Not seen a huge amount of Jeffrey Schlupp in this game. He had it for a second, but options ahead of him were limited. Went back to his captain Milivojevic. Scott Dan now picks it up. Neat through ball to Andros Townsend, who's just tugged at by Mario Lemina. Fulham concede another free kick about midway inside the Fulham half, and Palace will fancy this one as well. It's got a nice bit of angle to the delivery, hasn't it, potentially?
Yeah, and I feel like Palace are more clever and streetwise than Fulham. They're going to put this in the box where the Fulham would want to start passing it again. Palace will use any chance they can to get a free kick into the box of their big players.
Townsend is eyeing up the free kick. The man who won it, left-footed. Pretty sure it's too far out and too far wide to shoot. Wouldn't 100% rule it out, but I think he's going to bend this one in. Indeed he does. It's a fizzing, dipping delivery looking for Cheku Kayate, who ghosted in at the far post. It's beyond him. It's beyond Robinson. And it's out of play for a goal kick. I guess a little bit of a shot to nothing. Might as well try something, Palace, from there.
Yeah, I think as well. You know, on another day, he gets in there on the far post, but that's what Palace will do. They'll put the ball in the box at any opportunity where Fulham, they want to play.
Well, Fulham are trying to play out from the back, and Ream and Areola getting themselves in all sorts of trouble as two Palace players press them and hunt them down, and in the end Ream is forced to smack the ball downfield, which they might as well have done from the goal kick anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Not good. Anyway, the ball is eventually surrendered and it trickles out of play. Ademola Lookman, to his credit, came scurrying back and tried to help out on halfway, but it was Palace who did get the throw. Klein takes it. Back in the Premier League, back playing football after his contract at Liverpool ran out at the end of last season. wasn't that long ago, was it, that Nathaniel Clyne was winning his England caps. I think he's got about 15, and was effectively for a while briefly first choice at Liverpool, great at Southampton. It's a real shame that his career stagnated, but you know what, he's still only 29.
Yeah, and I think Trent Arnold really coming onto the scene sort of killed Clyne a bit, but you know, he's stuck in there. He's been given a chance by manager Roy Hodgson, and now he's got to take it and stay in the team.
Absolutely. Back in football, had his own injury problems as well, which didn't help him at the point he lost his place at Liverpool. Riedeveld, the man who scored the goal in the first half, has just gone through Lookman. Lookman slipped, got himself back up, and Riedeveld made sure that he was back on the floor again within half a second, didn't he? That was fairly forthright.
Yeah, Lookman just looks a dangerous player, doesn't he? But at least now in the replay we see now in the live, we can see that Fulham are going to try and get this ball into the box now.
Yeah, Kearney, the captain, left-footed, he's going to bend this one in. Scott Down shouting at his teammates to make sure they mark their men. Decent looking delivery, Mitrovic's header. It's over the bar. That's what Mitrovic does bring to the table. Powerful header as well. But in the end, it was a good couple of yards off target.
Yeah, but that's what you want to see, don't you? We've been saying it for how long, and now they finally get a ball into the box, and Mitrovic with a great header, and unlucky, another day that might be on target.
58 gone, Premier League Live, we stay, Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 1. Reminder, Man United Chelsea to come in about an hour and a quarter's time with the brilliant Tom Rennie and Dave Kitson, and at 8 tonight we bring you Barry and Swain and Paul Mortimer's commentary of Liverpool Sheffield United. Earlier 1-1 West Ham Man City, last night Villa 0, Leeds 3. Fulham actually had 73% possession in this half and 68 in the first, but as we well know, it's not what you've got, it's what you do with it. And they've not done enough, we can safely say, when they've had their gilt-edged chances. They've not taken them. It was a decent one for Mitrovic, not as clear-cut as the one that he and the other that Zambo Anguissa missed in the first half, but it was still a good opportunity. Here come Fulham again though, Anthony Robinson in field. That's more like it. Shot from Kearney. It's on target. It kind of bent behind the back of Mitrovic. Going to saw it relatively late, but it was straight down the throat of the Spaniard, who ultimately, Gabby, made a comfortable save.
Yeah, it's great play from the left back there, but Kearney, no back lift, so it was a hard chance, but I think with his quality, you want to be testing the keeper a lot better there.
Josh King, not the player I suspect, has tweeted in from Ibadan in Nigeria, thinking that Fulham could yet come back and win this one 3-1. He says, I'm enjoying your commentary while I wait for the Man U Chelsea game. That will be great. Josh, I'll tell you what, if Fulham win this 3-1, I'd be amazed, but fair play to you if it does happen. It would be one of the spots of the season, if not in Premier League history. Michael the Hermit has tweeted a beautiful picture of snowy Montana, the crazy mountains. He says, I'm snowshoeing and gearing up to listen to you boys. Beautiful picture of the snow. And Michael L has also tweeted a picture of snowy Montana as well as he listens. Glorious, glorious stuff. Fulham back on the attack, looking for the equaliser. Kearney to Ademola Lookman, who's being pushed back. Decent play from Andros Townsend, who sticks with him and forces the man on loan from RB Leipzig back to his own centre circle. Nice pressing and intelligent football from Palace, doing just what they needed without the ball. Nathaniel Clyne with a purposeful challenge. The ball ricochets though back to Ruben Loftus-Cheek for Fulham. The man wearing 15 out to Zambo Anguissa and now to Aina. Again, it's a bit static, it's a bit lacking in drive and purpose and momentum, this attack. Fulham do have the ball, but it all feels a bit one-dimensional and languid. Aina's ball is easily cut out, and Schlupp brings it half clear. He's then tackled by Mitrovic. Decent work from him. It's back to Kearney. Left foot to right foot. Beats one player. Beats two, but overcooks it and can't get round Scotty Down. Down with an important challenge on the edge of the 6-yard box. Otherwise, it might have opened up for the Fulham captain. Here come Fulham again. Mario Lemina goes his way past Michy Batshuayi, but then plays a dreadful ball that Batshuayi easily intercepts. That then ricochets. Football not the winner of this passage of play. It's been very scrappy from both teams. Fulham ultimately by hook or by crook emerged with it. Ream to fellow American Robinson. His delivery headed half clear by Mitchell, and in the end Palace will boot it downfield. As far as Michy Batshuayi, not a lot of quality on show in any of that part of that move, I hate to say, for me, Gabby.
No, it's a bit scrappy, but I'm just impressed with the way Palace are defending. You know, the midfielders have been very strict. They're not moving from in front of that back four, and they're making it very frustrating for Fulham.
I'll go back to the point we raised pre-kick-off, that sometimes Roy Hodgson's training can be repetitive and it's all about knowing your role, doing it time in, time out, knowing your positioning. But in a game like this, it largely works. Will it work now? Here's Fulham on the attack. Kearney to Lookman, who turned to try and get a shot away, but the ball wouldn't quite fall for the former Everton man. He does keep hold of possession, but he was crucially forced to turn backwards and then eventually surrender 4 or 5 yards. He finds Robinson, tackle from Klein out for a Fulham throw, nearly opened up. But again, Palace, good structure, good shape, and they managed to get the ball to relative safety. Mitrovic on the swivel, shot from the edge of the penalty area, is blocked by Kouyaté, and it's out for another Fulham throw. It has been a lengthy period of possession and territory for Scott Parker's men. They need to do more with it. Edge of the box again for Mitrovic, tries to poke it through as far as Lookman. Riedeveld, the goal scorer, blocks it. Zambo Anguissa from distance. Shot from 25 yards, never truly well struck. And Gaeta is happy, Gabby, to watch that one fizz past his right-hand post.
Yeah, I don't mind that though, I mean, they're passing it so much that he's got Anguissa there. He just wants to take a shot and get some sort of shots on target. He was unlucky to miss the target, but it's good play from Fulham and they are pressing at the moment.
I think we could be seeing Eberici Eze come onto the field for Crystal Palace. Talented player, signed for big money from Queen's Park Rangers, West London rivals in the Championship in the off-season. Eze came on for a cameo off the bench a couple of weeks ago in a commentary we did and did well. He's had a couple of starts as well and back to the bench in recent weeks. We'll see if he comes on in a moment, but it's going to be 2-0 when he does, and Wilfried Zaha guides it in. It's another goal for Zaha, who could well have hurt himself in the process. He's collided with the post as he slid in bravely for a 5th of the season. Great work down the right. Zaha wanted it more than Fulham, and he's got yet another goal. Let's hope he's not done himself damage in the process. Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 2.
Yeah, I mean, I need to see the replay here. I'm hoping it's onside, but it's still good play from Batshuayi. I mean, it's a great run here. He plays it off to Townsend, then makes a run in behind. He gets the ball back from Townsend, and it's a great ball across the box. No, I think he's onside. It's a great finish from Zaha. That's where you want your second striker to be, in the back post, and it's a great finish.
Just looking at the replay, so basically he scores and then, slides into the left-hand post with a kind of combination of, looks like his shin maybe first up, and then his face almost smacks in second as well. It's not pleasant. I think he is going to be okay, despite the grimace and the howl of pain. In terms of the finish, he had to basically stud it in, didn't he? Because he was stretching, and it was actually well controlled.
It looks like his left knee smashed off the post there, but I'm sure when that happened, he'll be hurting. But when he gets up, he'll be very, very happy at getting that sort of goal, because it's brave. He knew he was going to collide with the post, but he still slid in.
And it's not necessarily a classic Zaha goal, is it? And it's the side of his game that hopefully we are going to be seeing more of. He's taken his left sock down. He's receiving a bit of treatment, but at least he's back on his feet as that treatment continues. He is still hobbling. I think you're right, it is his knee. Do you think he'll continue or not from there?
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. I think it's going to be a bit sore, but it's one of them injuries that I'm sure you can try and run off, and I'm sure he'll be back on the field.
We'll see whether or not Eze does now come onto the field. Perhaps not, given the second goal, or maybe all the more reason to bring him on. We'll wait and see. 65 gone, Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 2. Having set up the first, Zaha has the second. And not to sound like a broken record, Fulham with a languid build-up from deep, hopeful ball over the top, straight out of play, Palace goal kick. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm really disappointed so far with Loftus-Cheek. I mean, I was so excited, and at the start of the game, wasn't I, that he can try and get that form back, but he's been really poor today, and he hasn't really showed that confidence of taking people on, and he's lucky to still be on the pitch for me.
Going to see a Fulham substitution. Zambo Anguissa goes off. Onto the field comes the Frenchman Aboubacar Camara, wearing 47. Another very purposeful and very, very strong striker, and a man who loves a good direct run, doesn't he? And another very, very kind of forthright character. I wonder if he might be able to just create something out of nothing here from Fulham.
Yeah, but he's that sort of player that they need to bring on now. I mean, going 2 goals down, they need to get some more attacking players on the pitch, and he can score goals. He's a handful, he's a strong, and he's got a lot of pace. So let's see what happens now with this more attacking formation from Fulham.
Of course, for anyone who didn't know this or missed it last time I mentioned it a few weeks ago, when he's on the field at the same time as Mitrovic, the other two had an almighty fallout a couple of seasons ago over a penalty and who would take it, and then had another bust up in training which forced Camara to be sent away on loan. So they've apparently made up. We'll see how they intertwine on the field now that they're on together again. Here come Fulham looking for one back, and it's Lookman who lets rip, cut him beautifully from the right. At least he stood tall and had a go. It fizzed wide of goal, but again, Ademola Lookman is the one positive outlet for the home team.
Yeah, he's the danger man, isn't he? I mean, the way he cuts inside there, another day he hits that on target, but he's the only bright prospect that Fulham are showing today. I mean, the heads are down and a lot of the players aren't really looking to get involved in the game. Lookman's the one that looks like he's got the fire in his belly.
Fulham 0, Palace 2, 67 minutes gone. Neymar Bucklands has tweeted in saying we're in the middle of doing a 10k run in the hills above Los Angeles, California, loving your commentary. Ball ricochets loose though for Fulham. Mitrovic as far as Lookman again, who tries on his weaker left foot. This time maybe over trying to make something happen on his weaker side. Snatched at it, and that one fizzes well wide of goal.
Yeah, another good effort from Lookman. He's not scared to take shots on his weaker foot, his left foot. But this is what you want from Mitrovic, you know, holding the ball up and then making the right pass.
To his credit there, Loftus-Cheek, I know he wasn't challenged, but he rose well to win the header to set the chance up. That was at least something from him.
Yeah, definitely.
So Palace 2 to the good. They this time decide to play the ball out from the back. Nat Klein to Zaha, who looks to be okay and plays another clever ball over the top. Bashuai is all over the Fulham defence, and fair play in the end to young Tosin Adarabioyo, who did well under pressure to get the ball clear and beat the Belgian at his own game physically. But the ball ricochets back off Fulham, and here come Palace again looking for a third that would so surely seal the game with 22 minutes to go. Credit Fulham on this occasion, they get it back. Robinson to Loftus-Cheek. Ball over the top from the man on loan from Chelsea to the new man Abubakar Kamara. Cuts inside Tariq Mitchell with his first touch. Nice play from the man wearing 47, but his ball over the top to Loftus-Cheek is poor. Nathaniel Klein is more than happy to stab the ball downfield to halfway. Robinson wins it in the air above Zaha for Fulham. It's back in field to Mario Lemina. Nearly 69 gone. Fulham 0, Palace 2 here on Premier League Live. Kamara to Kearney now, edge of the D. 30 yards out, fairly centrally. Loftus-Cheek over the top, looking for Kamara. That was a poor ball that Tariq Mitchell easily intercepted. Tariq Mitchell has done pretty well in this game. He's had his odd moment defensively, or he's struggled. The youngster since coming into the team, he's looked good today, but this is better from Fulham. Oh, he's had a penalty, I wonder. Kearney ghosted through two players. He started to tumble. In the end, nothing is awarded. Koyate, perhaps the man who was closest to him. To be honest, Kenny's not exactly protesting too much. As we have a look at the replay, Gabby, any shout of a penalty here?
No, I feel like he's already on his way down on the replay we see now. He's already falling and Koyate doesn't even touch him. No penalty for sure.
Yeah, just initially he almost looked round plaintively and grabbed hold of the ball, but as it was, you're right, no contact. Nice run, good quick feet, but nothing comes of it. Palace, in the blink of an eye, have worked the ball down the other end. Oh, Mitrovic then miscontrols and gives it away. Here come Palace. It's Riedewald hoping for a second out to the far side to young Tariq Mitchell. Oh, it's saved at his near post by Alphonse Areola. It's behind for another Palace corner.
That was so poor for Mitrovic because he's not giving the ball away. It's about the reaction. I mean, he gives the ball away here. He stands still, doesn't try and win it back. I mean, Scott Parker will not be happy with that from Mitrovic.
I'd take him off for that.
I know, 100%.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Managers don't like that, and but the only problem is, what do Fulham have on the bench to replace Mitrovic?
They've already bought on Abubakar Kamara, haven't
they don't really have another striker available, so...
Bobby Reid to play off a front man, but Harrison Reid is a creative outlet, but again, more from deep. You're right, they haven't got anything else as a finisher, a predator whatsoever. Here from a short corner, the ball's engineered in by Zaha. I think it was Jeffrey Schlupp who rose. It was a header on target, but it lacked a bit of power. And for once, Alphonse Areola is able to make a more comfortable save. The other was a fairly sprawling effort in the end, wasn't it, under real pressure?
Yeah, it's a good save there, but it's just very frustrating for Fulham at the moment. They look like a team who have lost any idea of trying to get back into their game, and you look at this game and you think if they can't win against this team at home, then what games are they going to win this season?
Well, you said to me pre-match that obviously they should stick with Parker, but if it's a hefty defeat or one where they show little willpower and little fight and aren't playing for each other, there are one or two signs, I've got to say.
I agree.
That it's not good. Not good. at all. And a lot of the problems that blighted the club in their last Premier League run 2 years ago seem to be re-emerging. In discipline, another is Lamina brings down Andros Townsend right in front of the ref. He gesticulates wildly and frustratedly, just like Alexander Mitrovic did a couple of moments ago when he gave the ball away and didn't track back. Yeah, Gabby, you think when Fulham obviously went through a hatful of managers a couple of seasons ago and ended up with Parker right at the end, all of the players in and out, how the club promised this time they'd do it differently and get it right when they managed to get up via the playoffs. It is not looking like it's a much happier story this time around. We'll leave that there for now because Palace have made another substitution. Off has gone Nat Klein, and on comes a really good attacking outlet. Again, not great defensively, but Patrick Van Aanholt's got a cannon of a left foot on him, hasn't he?
Yeah, they're sort of spoiled, aren't they? Crystal Palace for left backs, so to bring him on, I think Mitchell's gone to right back, and I think that's a bit of a
go for the jugular move almost, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think
on a bloke who can score.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit of a let's rest Klein. He's not playing much football. Let's bring him off and rest him. He's played 70 minutes, and then bring on a left-footed player to play left side and move the left back to the right side. So I think it's a bit of a, I don't know, disrespectful to Fulham. I think Roy Hodgson sees the game already won, to be honest.
When he's gone with that preventative issue on Klein, yeah, it's an interesting point. Yeah, very much so indeed. So we stay 2-0 Palace, 72 gone here on Premier League Live. And it's a strong Palace bench, to be fair, isn't it? You've got Max Meyer, highly rated young German. Mamadou Sakho, excellent defender via Liverpool. Christian Benteke, of course, was a huge signing for your boys Villa at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Eze didn't end up coming on because of that second goal. Even Martin Kelly is a good solid player who came up via Liverpool. Apart from a weakness with their sub-keeper due to 2 injuries and coronavirus, and normally that would be strong as well. It's actually a very decent match-day squad Palace are able to put out now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's competition for places. That's what you want now from Crystal Palace and their players. What we just said there about Loftus-Cheek has been brought on now for Bobby Reid, and it's been a disappointing game for Loftus-Cheek, and I feel like he needs to sort his form out as soon as possible, because he needs to be at this Fulham team to try and prove his way back into Frank Lampard's plan for next season.
Yeah, Bobby Cordova-Reid via Bristol City, played in the Premier League a couple of seasons ago for Cardiff, and back down to the Championship with them and brought back to the top tier by Fulham. He has got a couple of goals this season already. Be very welcome if he could get one here, possibly 2. Is it the kind of change though that will make much difference? We shall wait and see. Palace back on the attack, long ball downfield, chested clear, solid defending once more. The ball trickles out of play for another throw. 15 minutes to go. And finally, Eze will be coming onto the field. His return delayed initially by the second goal. Looks like he's going to be coming on for Jeffrey Schlupp. So Kamara on for Zambo Guisa, Van Aanholt for Klein, Cordova-Reid for Loftus-Cheek, and in a moment Eze for Schlupp, as both managers continue to offload from the bench. And yeah, I'm hoping Eberechi Eze can do something from here, because again, this stage could be quite well set for a man of his skills as well.
I mean, for sooner or later, Fulham are going to have to throw bodies forward to try and get into the game, and Eze's got that. He's got that talent to be able to run with the ball and drive through the middle, and he's been a great addition to this Crystal Palace side. And he's young, and he can go out and do a good job today.
If things stay as they are, by the way, admittedly having played a game more than most, Palace will be back up to 5th in the table and level with Liverpool on both points and goal difference, which would be quite impressive. And as things currently stand, Fulham, having played 1 or 2 more than some of their fellow strugglers, will be rooted to the bottom with a single point and down already to a -10 goal difference. Jeffrey Schlupp goes off. I'd say he had his best game, but certainly did what was needed. And Eberechi Eze is on, and immediately wearing 25, the former QPR man picks up the ball. Oh, cuts inside. Good work from him. To Andros Townsend, who's got Zaha slightly in his way. Zaha now peels off, right edge of the area. Anthony Robinson up against a combination of Zaha and Andros Townsend. Does well. Manages to win the throw as well. Good job he did, because he was seriously outnumbered there for a second.
Yeah, and I feel like we said about Eze, he's got that talent to be able to drive with the ball and commit defenders, and he's going to be a pain for Fulham to cope with for the rest of this game.
Shout out to Warren B, listening to our commentary from Little Rock in Arkansas. Chris Velasquez, burgers and Mountain Dew the only way to go. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for continuing to do that one. And Seydou saying that Palace to still go on and win this an absolute certainty now. And from here, Seydou, I completely agree with you. At TalkSport Live, keep your tweets coming in. We'll bring you the rest over the course of the end of this game. 76 gone. Fulham 0, Palace 2. Tariq Mitchell, having switched flanks, as Gav says, will take the throw from the right-hand side now as Palace continue to attack. Zaha tries to feed it through on the right edge of the box to Andros Townsend. Robinson and Fulham again doing all right. Among those who have struggled, I've got to say, Anthony Robinson at left-back for Fulham, I think has actually done okay.
Yeah, he's done very well. He's one of the players in this side that can hold their hands up and they'll give it all, but I just think Fulham are missing a bit for me and they need to sort this out as soon as possible. We discussed earlier about them changing their style of play. I think that's something that they might have to do before he ends up losing his job, Scott Parker.
Yeah, and I'm not impressed with what I've seen here. I do like Fulham. They're a team I've covered many times, and friendly club, historical club, beautiful ground in a great part of town, but this is not good enough, I'm afraid, as Batshuayi completely unchallenged puts in a shot from distance. It was on target but straight down the throat of Areola. Again, Fulham trying to play out and do so dangerously but do get away from it. Worrying times, just 6 games into the season, not even quite 6 games. Cordova-Reid brings it forward. Eze, hungry, trucks his fellow sub, can't quite win it back, and Fulham do at least have the ball about 35 yards out centrally. Kearney, the skipper, out to the right hand side to Aina. His delivery is cut out by the new left back for Crystal Palace, which is Patrick Van Aanholt. Moves it downfield for another Fulham throw, and maybe this is something for Fulham. Harrison Reed, who's a good player, has been out with a knee problem, only just back into training even, but the ginger-haired lad wearing 21 will be coming on, and he is a good prospect, and maybe even be rushing him back slightly, but maybe they've got no other option.
Yeah, but I'm not sure he's the sort of player you want to be bringing on when you need goals. You know, you're 2-0 down, maybe you've got to bring on another attacking player, but it just seems the body language there of the Fulham players, even the players that have come off, just the body language don't look right to me, and this is going to be something that the owners will be looking at. We said it before the game, didn't we, that if the performance isn't right, that's when you start asking questions of the manager.
So Fulham 2 years ago pulled the trigger, didn't they, on Slavisa Kanovic. Then they brought in Claudio Ranieri, didn't they, which was an absolute disaster. And then Parker in the end ended up obviously taking over. I wonder if we're going to see an array of revolving doors. And you think a few years ago under the previous ownership when there was that ridiculous season where you saw 3 or 4 different managers come and go, assistant coaches, whoever in charge, it's often been a major problem, the consistency of management in recent years at Fulham in the Premier League, and they're on the back foot again. It's Zaha twisting and turning, and in the end he just falls over his own foot and doesn't quite get his shot away. But once more, Gabby, it's Fulham backing off, Palace surging forward uncontested. In the end it falls back to Milivojevic, who we've barely mentioned in the second half, because let's be honest, he's not really needed to do anything. All his work was done in the first half. The serve to Eze, impudent little back heel to Zaha, to Riedewald, who got it all underway in the first half. He finds Van Aanholt, left edge of the penalty area. Zaha can't get his shot away. Aina in the end makes the interception back out of play for another Crystal Palace corner, and that one was won way too easily once again, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you got to understand as well, when you're winning 2-0, you got some new players on the pitch, you just want to have a bit of fun. Everyone wants the ball, you know, no one's under pressure, and it's a nightmare to play against. And I do feel sorry for these Fulham players, because I've been in their position. They're chasing shadows now in the last 10 minutes of the game.
I'm trying to think, didn't we? Felix Magath, who came in and wanted to rub cheese on his injured players, if memory serves, and we had Rennie Moulenstein, who was in for a tiny little bit after Martin Jol went. And I remember that time a few years ago, the whole merry-go-round was just an absolute disaster as well. Not sure rubbing cheese on it is ever going to solve the problem, is it, Gabs?
No, of course not. But you can't keep changing the manager, you know. Who do they bring in, really? It's going to change this group of players. I just feel that if you look at the Fulham squad, I don't think their squad's good enough to challenge in this league.
James Pickard, relaxing with his friends. They've got a crate of beer, listening to us in 87-degree heat in Tampa, Florida. Settled down, having a cold one, enjoying our company. James, that sounds blissful, my friend. Safe one for us. Not for Gabby, because he only drinks water, he says, but very nice. Elabor, thanks for your beautiful commentary all the way from Abuja in Nigeria. It's my weekend tonic. ecstatic commentary from you guys. Can't wait for the Chelsea-Man United game. Keep it up. That's from Edem in La Paz in Ghana. And Alabar Paul Yami saying, great listening on Beat FM. It's your superb commentary, boys. Really good to hear from you. Everybody around the world. Jerry Keller, Victor Ocon-John, Tina Asantua. Yeah, it's just great to have everybody listening. And we stress again, Gabby, it's great to bring the Premier League to our global audience via this channel, isn't it? It is an absolute pleasure, and so many people around the world love the Premier League and take such a knowledgeable and such a vested interest in it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's good to just see that football's listened to and watched so much over the world, you know, and it's great for TalkSport International to be able to give the countries the opportunity to listen to the Premier League on this radio channel.
82 gone, Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 2. Tim Reed in field to Ademola Lookman, who's had to come right back to halfway to try and at least get hold of the ball in some capacity and try and make something happen. But in the end, he's dispossessed, and once again, the referee's whistle blows. By the way, Scott Parker, the man in charge of Fulham, actually made 7 appearances under the Palace manager Roy Hodgson with England, including starting all 4 matches of Euro 2012. He talked about the disparity in age and experience of the two. Just another one that really shows that. The fact that one played for the other at national level. At the moment, though, it is the master who's very much coming out on top against the apprentice, as Fulham just try to make something happen once more as we tick toward the final 7 minutes. Robinson surging forward. He's dispossessed though by Cheikhou Kouyaté, who's got a surging run in him, the number 8 for Palace. Little 1-2 with Michy Batshuayi and Harrison Reed, who came on a few moments ago for Fulham. His first meaningful touch since return from that knee injury was an all-important interception to stop the ball being played back to Cheikhou Kouyaté on the edge of the penalty area. Ball over the top from Fulham, another attempted counter-attack, but again asking way too much this time of Abubakar Kamara. And it's out of play for another throw as Kamara looks to the grey cloudy heavens, sticks out his tongue, and I don't know what he's thinking. Not sure what that man Scott Parker on the big screen is thinking either.
Yeah, I feel like, even when I looked at that then from Batshuayi, I think he's been quite poor today. I know he got the assist, but he's been quite poor today. It'll be interesting to see Benteke comes on to replace him for the last 10 minutes, but I feel without Wilfried Zaha, this Palace team will be in big trouble. He's been the bright spark of the game.
Lee Hart listening to us on the Arizona-Utah state line, sent us a picture of himself pouring himself another bottle of, you guessed it, Mountain Dew. Very good to hear from you, my friend. 84 gone, Fulham 0, Palace 2, and another woefully overhit ball over the top, I'm afraid to say, from Fulham. No chance of the striker getting there, and it's out of play for another goal kick. Remember we said that Roy Hodgson's team have only kept a couple of clean sheets in 28 in London derbies, lost 5 from 6 away from home in a row. We are starting to see something here, aren't we? They haven't scored in 6 from 7 away from home as well, and on their travels has been Palace's Achilles heel in many senses. I know this is against a poor Fulham team, but Gabby, I wonder what they can take from what we're pretty much now certain will be an away win and a clean sheet. It could well do their confidence away from home the world of good.
Yeah, 100%. Their confidence will be better, but I don't think they'll get carried away. I'm sure Roy Hodgson, an experienced manager, will know that a lot of teams are going to come to Craven Cottage and pick up points. Aston Villa done it early on in the season. This is a really poor Fulham side, but to get that away win is massive for confidence and will help them in the rest of the season.
Could be a second clean sheet in 14 home or away for Palace as well. Don't forget, it's without the likes of the injured Gary Cahill. Scott Down slotting in, doing a good job. Joel Ward out for this one. And his struggles in the last game. In comes Klein, and until he's taken off for a rest, he did pretty well as well. It's been largely okay. Now, Boubacar Kamara's brought down his man. I think it was Eze who cut in. It was fairly clumsy. And we're going to see a yellow card. It's not been brandished much at all in this game by Graham Scott. Now it is on Abubakar Kamara, and that smacked of extreme frustration from the sub, who's only been on the field a few minutes to even get frustrated.
Yeah, but it's quite that they can be dangerous tackles when we see the replay there from Kamara, but at least he's trying to win the ball back and he's showing a bit of effort.
Pretty sure actually that is the first yellow card of the entire game. It's been a bit niggly at times, and you'd have maybe expected a couple here and there, but now we're looking at VAR as to whether this could be a red card for serious foul play, because not only did he trip him, but his studs are pointing, and Abubakar Kamara's studs, as he trips Eze, make contact with the Palace sub's right heel. So it's studs on ankle heel as he goes down. That can easily hurt an ankle or an Achilles tendon, can't it? And from this reverse angle, it's not just niggly and lazy, it's worse. Could it be red?
Come on, referee. I see the replay here, and the referee's going to look at the VAR monitor to see if this is a red card. But for me, it's just a bit of an accident. It's not a red card. It's a bit clumsy from Kamara, but a yellow card is the perfect punishment.
Gabby, it is one, though, that the more you look at it, the worse it looks. And in real time and from a different angle, we just thought it wasn't great in a yellow. But I just wonder, as you look at replays time after time, close up, slow down, I don't know, do they give it an unfair look? But ultimately it is a true vision we are looking at. It is a picture, isn't it?
I don't think it's a red card, though. I mean, if that's a red card, they'd be sending off every game. I mean, this is just a clumsy tackle. I mean, you see this replay here.
But it studs up.
Yeah, it is studs up, but I don't know. Not for me, but
I think this is nip and tuck, you know.
Yeah, I can see why it can be given, but it'd be very harsh.
I wonder if this might end up being a red. I totally take your point, of course. Let's see. He's now looked, he's now trotting back into the middle. Referee Graham Scott.
I think he gives a red card here.
Kamara looks across with a slightly concerned look on his face. And he's trying to get the card out of his pocket. It's stuck to add to the drama. Red card, yellow card rescinded, red card for Abubakar Kamara. And Fulham's woeful day, their woeful season continues. They must play the final 3 minutes of this London derby with 10 men.
That is very, very harsh. I'm actually in shock there. I mean, yes, it's a dangerous tackle, but I mean, you got to look at it as it's just clumsy. It's not as if Eze has stayed down injured off it, then maybe you'd look at it.
Kind of tired and clumsy tackle you might expect to see from a bloke who's been on the field for 88 minutes, but I mean, Abubakar Kamara only came on a few minutes ago, and that's the thing that worries me more than anything. Let's just double check exactly when he came on.
I think it's a harsh red card though, 100%.
47 minutes, so he's been on for 41 minutes. I don't know, I just think you look at the fact his studs are out. I appreciate maybe he didn't mean it, but reckless is kind of the word, isn't it, that the law looks at in these situations. Lack of control, danger, and for me it did tick those boxes. Totally appreciate, Gabby, you see a fair few tackles of maybe that ilk or similar in a game, and
you know,
to do
as well,
what, you've got to do the lot.
I feel like as well, like it's a different era now of football, you know, with technology. You're going to get more red cards now for things like that. When I was playing in my early time, that wouldn't have even been a yellow card. I think it's like play on, because the player gets up. You know, it's sort of play on and carry on.
Yeah, we should say to Eze's credit as well, he didn't make anything of it. He did get straight back up and crack on, the former QPR man. But yeah, you're right, I think perception changes. That video analysis definitely skews the perspective, rightly or wrongly. Probably we see a bit of both over time. Things that should be given and were missed that now are, and maybe things that shouldn't be but are given regardless. It's probably the double-edged sword of the amount of VAR and the amount of technology we now have. But I think we probably slightly disagree on this one. That for me, I think the decision was right.
I think players now have got to change the way they play the game. I mean, when you're tackling now, you've got to be so careful, because one mistimed tackle is a red card now, and before it'd be a yellow card.
We've got about 20 seconds plus time added on to go. It stays Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 2. Palace looking for a third. Zaha's ball over the top. It's headed half clear as far as Eze. Shot from Patrick Van Aanholt was on target through a congested penalty area. Areola saw it late, made the save, and crucially, Gabby, he held on to it as well, because I think it was Bashiwai who was lurking with intent, and had it cannoned off the keeper's chest, he would have happily prodded home the rebound.
Yeah, it was a good save from the keeper, but it wasn't a well-hit shot from Van Holt. But more good attacking play from Crystal Palace on the counter-attack.
There will be 6 additional minutes, by the way, so plenty more time for Palace to maybe get a third, and I guess you could say more time for Fulham to get back into this, but 2 down and a man down, you do fear for them. Next up, by the way, is West Brom at home a week on Monday, the Monday night game on November the 2nd. I'll come back to that in a second, because Fulham are back on the attack here. Anthony Robinson, fizzing low delivery to the edge of the 6-yard box. Mitrovic couldn't quite crane his neck and get his head there. The ball goes all the way to the far post, where the right back Aina picks it up. Shot from Kearney over the bar into the empty stand behind, and behind for a goal kick, which again sums up Fulham's afternoon. Yeah, West Brom at home next up. That's another huge one, isn't it? If they lose that, do we look at Parker going?
100%. I feel like that's the next game now. I feel like today they've kept it down to 2-0, hopefully. I think he's just on the border of being sacked, but I feel like if he loses to West Brom, they've got no choice, and he'll have no complaints if he loses his job, because West Brom, if you can't beat them, then you might as well go down.
West Ham away, Everton at home, Leicester away is the rest of the November schedule for Fulham. Palace just happily stroking the ball around, confidently on the edge of their own box. They've got Wolves away next Saturday night, then Leeds at home, Burnley away, Newcastle at home. On the whole, not the worst run of fixtures for Palace if they can build and get the win here. Here's Eze with another good run. Oh, the easiest of thirds from Wilfried Zaha, who strokes it in with absolute ease, but I fear that the offside flag is up. Fulham just walked themselves into an absolute nightmare of a situation, and Palace walked the ball as a result into the net, but there is an offside flag. Fulham to me look like they downed tools there, and yes, narrowly they're offside. Palace's goal doesn't stand, but for me, Gabby, that does not dissuade from how disinterested Fulham looked there.
And it was only like a tight offside as well, don't forget, because we've got the look at the replay here, so not great defending from Fulham, but we've been saying that for the first 5-6 games, haven't we, about them this season?
But it's still just the lack of structure and quality. It's that lack of heart now, isn't it? As they were more than happy just to be run through it, felt there. Yes, they're a man down, but they need more backbone, more fight. Here could be the third for Eze. Oh, and he can't quite guide it in. First shot from the youngster from an acute angle blocked by Areola. It fell back to him from an even tighter angle, and all Eze could do was park the ball into the side netting and away for a goal kick. Just not enough room for him to work with to get the third.
No, it's good effort though and a good run. And I just feel like the Fulham players now are just looking for the final whistle.
Praying for the final whistle. Oh, he was close there. I'd love to have got a goal. Been really impressed with him so far. So anyway, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley, Newcastle. Not the worst run for Palace, who started the season well. Then we've talked about their dip. This could be a nice reigniter, couldn't it, to really kick on. Here come Fulham one more time. We've had 3.5 of the 6 additional minutes. Anthony Robinson with another decent looking cross. Aina from the far side tries to head it on. And he shoves his man Van Aanholt in the back in the process. Another decision doesn't go Fulham's way. The right back just looks plaintively across as the decision fails to go his way. Another moment that Fulham would like to forget. By the way, team news in for a 5:30 kickoff, which is Man United against Chelsea with Tom Rennie and Dave Gibson. Edison Cavani is on the bench for Man United wearing 7. It's just one of the details. Luke Shaw keeps his place, so does Harry Maguire. Lindelof is back in. It's Mata, Fernandes and Dan James, 3 behind Marcus Rashford. So still, Mason Greenwood doesn't get a look in for this one after his recent issues. Of course, there's no Martial for this one either. That is the Man United line-up, Man United-Chelsea. Big game, kicking off in about 38 minutes' time with Tom and with Dave, followed by Liverpool-Sheffield United with Barry Swain and Paul Mortimer at 8. So in 3 and a bit hours' time, right here on Premier League Live. What he brought you, West Ham 1, Man City 1. Villa 0, Leeds 3 last night. And this one looking like the 3rd league win of the season for Crystal Palace, to go with 2 defeats back-to-back in that draw last time out. Not too bad. Here come Fulham though. Harrison Reed to Kenny. Oh, Tom Kenny can hit him. It's not really clicked for the skipper over the course of the game, but he leads by example, and it's a consolation for the Cottagers. It's something to cling on to, and it papers over at least some of the cracks. Fulham 1, Crystal Palace 2.
It's a great goal though, isn't it? We look at that from Tom Kearney. He's had a few shots this game that have been poor, but if you're giving him this sort of space, he's going to punish her, and I think Roy Hodgson will be very disappointed that they've not kept a clean sheet.
So yeah, we said about the lack of clean sheets, particularly away from home, and for Palace that all continues, but you're right, just because the situation is dire for the home team doesn't detract from the quality of the goal. Tom Kearney, the Scottish international, does have an excellent left foot, and he has scored some quality goals during his career at Fulham and beyond. And that was really crisply and just very nicely struck, wasn't it? The technique was excellent.
Yeah, great goal. And he's got that technique, hasn't he? I mean, like, how long we got left? Oh.
About 15 seconds plus a little bit more probably.
A corner would have been nice there for Fulham, but I do feel like Kearney's got that quality, and Roy Hodgson doesn't look happy there with conceding a late goal, because managers want to see clean sheets.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And if Fulham could have nicked one more corner at the end, it could have got interesting. Long ball over the top, looking for Robinson, who's been an excellent outlet and has never stopped trying. But in the end, it just trickled too far. We're well over the 6 minutes now. At least Fulham have got something back, but I suspect that's all it will be. We've got one more goal kick after the ball trickled out, which Gator will take in a moment. And I fully expect with the ball in the air, Graham Scott will blow his whistle. Let's wait and see. He doesn't, he lets it run for a second longer. Powerful header from midfield from Lamina, back to the goal scorer Kearney. Lamina down the right, he's going to let this run. One more Fulham, attack ball over the top. Tariq Mitchell is the man who gets there left-footed, hooks it clear, and that was the final play of the game. And Roy Hodgson, back at his old stomping ground where he shone as a boss so brilliantly a decade ago. Crystal Palace get the win, and it's yet another defeat for Scott Parker's rock bottom at Fulham. It's 5 losses and 1 draw as they stay rooted to the foot of the table, and it's the first time that they've ever lost their opening 3 home league games of the season, and it equals their longest winless run to start any Premier League campaign at 6. It's grim for the Cottagers, but for Crystal Palace it's yet another win, and for now at least they surge into the top 6. And it's Riedeveld and Zaha with the goals, Camara with a red card for Fulham, and a late consolation from distance from Kearney. Full time, Fulham 1, Crystal Palace 2 on Premier League Live. There we are. And the thoughts, please, of Gabby Agbonlahor and all of that, sir. Sum it up.
I think it was a comfortable win, wasn't it? I know the scoreline is 2-1, but it was a comfortable afternoon for Roy Hodgson's team. Tactics, as per usual, spot on, hitting them Fulham on the counter-attack, and another poor display from Fulham. Should have been maybe 3 or 4-1, and they've got away with the score being 2-1, and I feel like Scott Parker needs to really have a word with these players.
Yeah, that West Brom game next up, crucial possibly for his own future. And you wonder whether the likes of Mitrovic at all need to be dropped and other changes need to be made to bring some dynamism and some hunger into this team. Word on Palace, though, they've emerged victorious. Another classic Hodgson job and another classic Palace job.
Yeah, we look at the goal here, and we've got the replay. We see the first goal for Crystal Palace, but like we said, it's Crystal Palace tactics. 2 centre midfielders that don't really move, they sit in front of the back 4, and the rest of the attacking players can go and express themselves, and that's what they did today. Frustrated Fulham, there was no space for Fulham to play their football, and Fulham finally ran out of ideas until a late wonder strike from Kearney. But Crystal Palace playing some great football, and they look like a threat on the counter-attack.
Gabby, it's ever an absolute pleasure. My thanks to the former Aston Villa and England striker Gabby Agbonlahor. Palace win the London derby at Fulham 2-1 and go 5th for now. Next up should be a cracker. Man United and Chelsea. Tom Rennie and Dave Kitson next up on Premier League Live.
As darkness sweeps around the globe at 8 p.m. on the 18th of November, 25,000 people worldwide will pull their running shoes on to hit the road for a virtual 5 or 10k at Run in the Dark. I'm Mark Pollock, and by joining us to Run in the Dark this November, you'll be supporting the Mark Pollock Trust and our charity partner Collaborative Cures, whose mission it is to cure paralysis in our lifetime. Register now at runinthedark.org and get your medal, your flashing armband, and your Run in the Dark virtual timing app. Thank you.
Let's talk about you looking after your business. Ford, looking after your vehicle. Let's talk hassle-free Ford leasing. Just a fixed monthly payment, no motor tax to deal with, and no maintenance or servicing to pay on selected plans. Get the all-new Ford Kuga from €425 per month. Hassle-free Ford lease. Now we're talking.